The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Standard Heating is having their 94-year celebration. They have special offers just for you this February. Whether you need a new furnace or a tune-up, they have something special for everyone. Visit standardheating.com to save today.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
What is it like being single? I like it. I like starting each day with a sense of possibility. And I'm optimistic because every day I get a little more desperate, and desperate situations yield the quickest results.
Now I'm single and I'm just learning, just figuring this out. Girls are not into the drunkest guy at the party. Like at no time ever are girls like, did you see that guy over there who bit open that beer can? Were you there when he made us all dare him to eat a cigarette? Oh, I'm into him.
Showtime.
There you go. Thanks very much for tuning us in. And welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. That's funny stuff right there.
I like that too.
Who's that guy? Who was that comic?
His name is Brooks Wheelan.
Brooks Wheelan, yeah.
Brooks Wheelan.
That was Stereo Brooks Wheelan. You got one from this studio, one from that studio. Brooks Wheelan is who that was.
That's a good line.
Singles Awareness Day today.
Were you there when he dared us? How did he say that again? Anyway.
He asked us to dare him to eat a cigarette.
That's how you say it. For
I
those
think
of
everybody's been to a party where that guy has been there.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Requesting you to dare him to do things that nobody really even wants to see him do.
Yeah, we don't care at all.
If you want to do it, go ahead and do it, man. I don't care. I'm going to be in the other room.
For those of you who got involved, we certainly hope your Valentine's Day celebrations last night were a dream by God come true. I have to admit, Josh, that I got caught up in the spirit of Valentine's Day last night.
I knew you would. First one with the new wife.
I got a little carried away. I ought to tell you now because you're my closest bro. You should be the first to know. I got engaged again.
Oh, same person or someone different?
What my friggin' wife doesn't know won't hurt her any at all.
Oh, no.
I got engaged again.
Congrats.
Got caught up in the moment. Now comes all the planning for my big day and everything. So I thought you should be the first to know.
Well, I've brought it up, but I guess it's been a long time. I've actually been married twice, just like you, soon to be Ashley, Dana coming up here. As my wife and I got married a second time at the Renaissance Festival when we renewed our wedding vows in front of legions of villagers and whatnot that they have there.
That's really cool.
I had forgotten about that.
Did you celebrate by Lady and the Tramp eating one of those big turkey legs together?
We did. Well, actually, we each had our own because she's kind of a pig.
Oh, those are good.
We wrapped our arms around each other's arms, you know.
Oh,
So we went through, made the little bit of a loop where I ate my own, she ate hers, and then washed it down with a goblet of grape juice or something.
That sounds like a dream. If I ever get married again, I've always wanted to do it at the Ren Fest because they have like venues you can rent out that aren't that crazy expensive. And it'd be cool to like dress up like that.
Ours was a shotgun wedding, well, maybe a sword wedding, I don't know what you'd say. Because we just noticed they were doing it. People were renewing their vows, and we said, well, what the heck?
Cool.
Let's go.
I remember that. I have to admit, it aggravated me then, and it aggravates me now.
But yeah, I remember you giving me some crap about that.
Yeah, that you renewed your vows at the friggin' Renaissance Festival.
Right next to the guy making pickle/penis jokes.
Oh,
Nice.
Love that guy.
And about 10 feet away from vegetable justice, where that guy throws out insults like I've never heard and pisses off big, muscular, blown lats dudes to throw tomatoes at him.
I've done that before. It's really fun.
Angry alpha males.
Big, muscular, blown lats dudes?
Those guys.
Yeah.
Boom. The lats are blown up?
Yeah, they're huge.
And they never make it. They have no accuracy.
Usually, yeah, they're a little tight, and they're so angry that anger doesn't let it. And I mean, what's that guy's name? Was it Mousy? Muggsy? I know somebody knows. Somebody will text us, and because I forget every single time. He is a genius. I don't even like to be in his line of sight because he'll go after other people.
How many years into your marriage did you renew your vows at the Renaissance Festival?
Just a few, within 3. I forget exactly.
Why did you do it? Just
Like I said, it was just happening.
Oh,
And, we just walk by, and my wife's like, hey, why don't we go up and do that?
Okay, I missed it. You did say that. I was still focusing on the blown lats and things like that. That is, it's cute, but I got to admit, mostly aggravating.
It's a crossbow wedding. I said shotgun wedding. Thank you, big rig fenders, Jesus. I had a crossbow wedding.
That's too much for me. So now, as Josh said, the world moves on to Single Awareness Day. Some folks, that's what some folks call today. Single Awareness Day. I mean, it's become a thing. It's supposed to celebrate the single people. And the, what's the word I'm looking for? The assumption, I guess, the assumption is that single people are just, we're single, we're the happiest people of, you married people don't even, I have so much fun. Yay, single people. That's the assumption, that's the stereotype, I guess. But then I read a poll asked single people if they agree with the statement, I'm single and loving it, and only 10% said yes. So maybe this, show of joy and, how single folks are constantly reminding you how their life is better than yours if you're married. We are so happy, single is the best way to go. Maybe that's all a cover for a lot of misery. I don't know.
I think it can be for sure.
I wonder when they ask when this poll takes place, though. Is it, if it's around Valentine's Day, maybe the answer is going to be a little different. They're thinking about it more than they normally would. I mean, yeah, I guess maybe it also age makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
If you're in your 50s and you're single, maybe that bothers you a little bit compared to if you're in your 20s, where it's a gift from God for some folks.
You're probably right, Cubby. You're probably right.
I'm usually not, so that's good to hear, actually.
Oh, don't even. Single Awareness Day. Did I say that correct? Singles Awareness Day. Sure. Oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm different. I don't know. I had a hell of a lot of fun as a single guy, but I mean, even back when I was married 20-some years ago, we still had a hell of a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. I liked.
I've been lucky in my first marriage. We were very young. So it wasn't as if there were any lockdown rules on where I go and who I go with. And, you went out with your friends last night. Can't we just stay in tonight? We were young enough to where that didn't come into play, and she wasn't that type of gal. And now in my current marriage, which is, let me see if I can do this. 4 months old, my current marriage. I mean, it does obviously help that I've known this woman for 35 years. It's not as if, we fall into line with some of the bad habits that married couples fall into line with, where one is trying to control the other. And you know what I'm saying?
No surprises.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I mean, for Christ's sake,
I liked being single until there was, nights where you're alone. And it's just you, and you're like, it'd be kind of nice to have somebody else here right now.
So you felt some of that singles loneliness?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, no.
Or especially dating is awful. Going out on...
I can't even imagine.
Just awful. The only upside was the majority of the time I'd get a free meal. That was pretty cool.
Going on dates, you mean?
yeah, that was pretty sweet.
There's they just talked about that yesterday in a couple of studies on who should pay for a first date, and the majority of people said the man should pay for the first date.
I think it depends who asks out who.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can throw that in there. What happens if it's 2 dudes going out on a date or 2 girls going out on a date? How do you do that? Is it the person that asked the other person?
I think it's an arm wrestling match.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
How are the lats on one guy?
They're yoked, bro.
I don't know if this will make sense or not, but I think I'm a relationship guy.
You absolutely are a relationship guy.
Yeah, I don't, I hoarded up for a couple of years of my life, but I've never really been into that, right? That's never really been my style. So this is the part that might be confusing. I don't feel like I need to be in a relationship where if I'm single, I'll be fine. But I think just my nature is just to go from girlfriend to girlfriend with no overlap, and however long that takes in between, that's fine by me. Hopefully that's not confusing.
I'll go along with it. I think I know what you mean.
I'd rather be in a relationship than date. Maybe that's a better way to put it.
Yep.
I'll go along with it because knowing you as long as I have, you haven't been single much. Not much. You were usually in a relationship. But when you weren't, I never heard you complain or ask for help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that must confirm your theory on yourself that you enjoy being in a relationship, but you don't need it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
I'll go along with it. But now that I'm thinking about it, Jesus, how long have we known each other? Near 30 years? Mm-hmm. You've almost never been without a significant other.
Yeah,
almost never.
Since I first started dating, very infrequent.
So I'm gonna back your theory. What else is there on Single Awareness Day here? Searches for speed dating and things like that go up.
I saw a thing on the news yesterday. It was on mute, so I didn't get all the details, but they showed a poll and said that speed dating is now making a comeback in 2024.
Well, yeah, we heard it. We actually talked about that a few weeks ago, didn't we?
About how it was hot for like a 6-month stretch, like 10 or 15 years ago. Now apparently it's making its comeback.
Yeah, we talked about that. It was like Texas Hold'em tournaments and swing dancing. Yeah. It was the most popular thing on planet Earth for about a week and a half.
Oh, and cigar smoking.
Remember
that was everybody did that for a while.
So, okay, Single Awareness, around this time of year, Valentine's Day, Single Awareness Day, searches for speed dating apps go up.
I could never do speed dating.
Oh, I could.
I think it'd be
That'd be fun, yeah. But I would think of it as more of a game than like trying to find somebody.
Dana would dominate at speed dating. You talk so fast, you make a 4-syllable word into oftentimes a 2-syllable word, you could get a ton out in that whatever limited amount of time they give you.
They wouldn't follow what it is you're saying.
Not necessarily.
But a lot of words would come out of your mouth in a short period of time.
And I feel like 5 minutes is about like my charming window. And then it's about minute 6 where all of a sudden they're like, oh, I don't know about this guy.
That's a good point.
You're like George Costanza from Seinfeld. You find a good out, you get up and you move on.
And like George, I think it was him or somebody else from a sitcom's like, I've got 3 date stories and that's it. Once I've said those 3 stories, I've got nothing else to say.
There are a lot of searches going on right now, folks on their cell phones, searching for a new dating app called Score that requires you to have a credit score of at least 675, whatever that means.
Okay, I'm out.
Does that? Well, yeah, you work in radio. You don't need to say that.
Is that a terrific credit score?
It's not. I mean, it's not out of the park crazy to achieve, but it's better than most.
Doesn't it go up to 800?
850.
850?
Yeah. Or 840 or 850.
Not trying to brag here, but I don't have any idea what makes a good or a bad credit score because I've always made a point of never having any outstanding bills.
Well, there you go. You probably have a great credit score then.
Not necessarily. I mean, you need some credit history.
Well, no, I do. And the only reason I know that is when I bought my latest house, whoever is the person that sits down there with you and you talk about your money, whoever that person is, they said, by damn, you've got a great credit score.
Nice.
It's a witch doctor. Those are the who you want to go to.
It looks like 715's average.
Oh,
that's average?
What the hell?
Oh, that seems high to me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that. Why, yeah. I never would have guessed that. I would assume you were elite.
That
kind of made me feel
I don't
bad.
spend any big money on anything, ever. So I guess that helps. I don't have any outstanding credit card bills because I buy fancy clothes or anything like that. So, it's been easy to keep a nice credit score because I don't get involved in spending big dollars on anything.
Well, mortgages and car loans, that help you out.
Yep.
The student loans, maybe? I guess I don't know if they count those or not.
I know my car loan really helped my credit score.
Unless you pay it off, then they're like, ha 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 ha. Thank you for doing this awesome thing. Your credit score is going to drop.
Your local 34 Jesus says 839 here, boys.
Nice.
wow. Look at you.
He is a desirable fella. It's not Steak and BJ Day. People are texting in.
I'm so
that's
burned
in
out
March
on that
or
bit.
something, right?
Seems like that happens every single day.
That's one of my least favorite bits on planet Earth. Everybody has a different version of when Steak and BJ Day is, and I'm tired of hearing about it. All year round, every month, we get somebody that'll text and say, how come you guys aren't talking about Steak and BJ? Because every one of you has a different version of when it falls on. And most of the guys who text about that haven't seen a BJ in decades. Sorry, I blew up. Back to Valentine's Day. For Christ's sake, there's all kinds of information here in front of me about what percentage of people have been in love. Have you ever been in love with two people at the same time? How many times have you been in love? But you know what they don't cover in here, Josh? They don't cover the people who don't believe in love. I don't. 1988 Queensryche Operation Mindcrime.
Music has been taken out of this portion of the Half-Assed Morning Show podcast for licensing reasons.
We don't need to get into this whole love thing, but there's this big write-up here about how many times have you been, how many people at once. It just goes on and on forever.
Nick, do you believe in love?
I do not.
You do not? Oh, that's unfortunate, because Huey Lewis does.
Well, not really. I mean, I suppose he does, but he's asking if you... Okay, here's the song. Huey Lewis in the news.
Ah, love that song.
What a talent.
That puts me in a good mood.
In the song, he comes off as if he believes in it, right? He just doesn't know if this lady that he's interested in, he doesn't know if she also believes in. What else is going on around here? Another question for us. Do any of us believe in life after love? Okay, let's stop. We need to put a lid on this before it gets out of control.
I do.
You believe in life after love?
Oh, yeah. Dang it, I don't have the song.
Well, why would you? For Christ's sake. 30-year-old song from Cher. You should not have that at the ready. If you had it at the ready, I'd be concerned about you.
God, I love Cher.
Same.
You know, if I was single on Single Awareness Day, and I had good seed, which I don't, I would like to impregnate Cher.
Jesus.
I want a little Cher baby.
Little Cher babe. Could you say Cher would be the first person to use auto-tune?
No. She could, there's no way. Maybe in that, like as a creative tool?
Yeah.
I guess I don't know.
Wapple, maybe she was the first 70-year-old to do it.
Yeah, because who is it? T.I. or T-Pain always gets the credit. I never noticed that until now, I guess. Wow.
You never
dude,
noticed
Wapple,
what?
You're right. Actually, she was the first recording artist to use autotune. They call it the Cher effect.
She's not the first to use autotune. She's as creatively.
Said she popularized it.
Yeah,
According to
they
Wikipedia.
used it as an effect.
I never really thought about that. That's cool.
More questions coming in. Other listeners want to know, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
I don't know what love is, but I do want to know what love is.
Lou Graham, Foreigner.
I'd like to send a shout out and apology to our podcast guy.
Yep.
Who will have to take all this music out.
Yep. Speaking of the podcast, Butcher's Hack Jesus said, "Take that, podcasters."
Yeah, we're boning the podcasters with all that. And suddenly it's winter again.
Yeah, it is.
That was very, very scary this morning.
It was?
Yeah, I did not have a good time.
Oh, I wanted to thank the plow guys and gals. I had a very easy time on my way in.
Yeah, my hands were sore by the time I got here from gripping the steering wheel so hard.
Oh, my God.
Last night was brutal.
Oh, yeah, you had a
Waffles.
little wild pre-party in Ramsey, right?
Yeah, so I had an hour and a half drive all the way home from Ramsey to Woodbury. It was brutal. I think we were going like 30 miles per hour the whole time.
Serves you right for, number one, living in Woodbury and accepting a bar gig in Ramsey.
I really can't choose where I'm going, but
You can choose not to go.
not
Nah, I'm
really.
good on this one, guys.
You have no choice and you have to go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Call Dana, he'll take the gig.
I'll do it for you.
He's got hair plugs to pay for.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Hair plugs and an engagement.
Suddenly it's winter again, at least for the next 2-3 days. It's supposed to be up in the 40s here in a couple days, so not a big deal. But it's a little bit of an adventure out there.
Got some shoveling to do when I get home.
I had to dig my car out this morning. That was a process.
Man, a lot of our listeners want to talk about love here.
There's some great texts coming
They
in.
want to talk about how love hurts, love bites, and love stinks.
Yeah, someone specifically asked if when you make love, do you look in a mirror?
Right.
Def Leppard
You
reference.
ever experienced love in an elevator? Some are wondering what love's got to do with it. All these questions, we'll try to find an answer by the end of the program. So you didn't see anybody go whipping into the ditch or anything last night, Wapple?
Oh, I saw 5 cars in the ditch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, did you see anyone, actually in the process go into the ditch?
No. But then I did see someone, they put on their 4-way flashers. They were going like 4 miles per hour down 694.
Maybe they were having a medical, what's the word I'm looking for, Josh? Episode.
Event?
Medical episode.
It kind of looked like they haven't driven in snow before.
Oh, that's scary.
Here we
They were
go.
right up on the wheel.
Another Minnesotan who's
Right
going
up
to
on the
teach us
wheel.
all how to drive in the winter.
You just described what Ashley described herself as on the way in. I saw some unfortunate tire tracks. That's about all I saw.
There's about
Looked like you're not supposed to drive there.
there's already 9 crashes in the metro area this
Oh,
morning.
I'm sure
so.
it's going to be bad. But the reason
yeah.
I ask, Wapple, is one of my fondest memories of my bar gigging days. Because you're doing a lot of bar gigs now. I did them for many, many, many years. And
Legacy.
pardon me?
Carrying on the legacy.
Is that what Wapple's doing?
He's carrying it on.
He's like my son, carrying on my legacy of bar gigs. One of my fondest memories was driving home from Burnsville. Serves me right. See, I can go ahead and admit it. It serves me right for agreeing to a bar gig in Burnsville. I had a choice, and I said yes. And I had to drive from Burnsville to the greatest city in the world, Wayzata, Minnesota, after a brutal snowstorm. And it was one of those deals where every swinging D in town knew this brutal snowstorm was on its way, so I'm calling the bar all afternoon long. You still want me to come out and do this stupid thing? No one's coming out. It's the worst snowstorm in weeks. Yeah, let's have you out. And I tried to get out of it. No, you got to come out for the... So I do the gig on the way home on 494. I watch some dude do about 11 and a half donuts, completely out of control, and he goes into the ditch. That made the trip worthwhile.
Was that the story where you guys locked eyes as he was going around?
Well, you might be thinking, I don't know if that happened to Nick, but I told you that happened to me.
Okay.
Crossing
No.
the bridge right over here in Minneapolis. Yeah, some guy, he's on the bridge, he spun out right in front of me. I mean, right in front of me, did a 360, and it was like slow motion where his eyes were huge, mine were huge. We
Yeah.
looked at each other like, what the hell are we going to do now? And it was the perfect 360, and he kept on his way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Wapple is accurate, though, because the same thing happened to me on 494. Because in my Burnsville bar gig, it was up midnight, on the way home. You're referring to an episode I had on 494, Broad Daylight, terrible snowstorm, where a guy started spinning, and yes, we locked eyes. And it's something that I'll never forget. He kind of looked at me as if he was saying, can you help with this at all? Because I was one car behind him, and as he lost control, he looked to me for at least spiritual or emotional help.
It was like,
And I had nothing to provide.
My guy kind of had a, can you believe this is happening look on his face.
it's like Talladega Nights. Am I flying through the air right now?
It sucks. It sucks when you're the person that goes in the ditch, but just know, if we get to watch you do it, sometimes it's a lot of laughs.
And it is like the movies in those moments when something like that happens. Everything around you just completely, you don't hear anything.
Oh, yeah.
It's just completely zoned out.
Suspended animation, I think they call
You
it.
get tunnel vision. It's in slow motion.
God.
I flew off my bike a couple times as a kid, and I remember that being in slow motion.
Just flying through the air.
Oh, yeah, got in a motorcycle accident once. Thought the same thing, slow motion.
I wonder how this is going to end.
Yep. Snowboarding, you're just going down. It's like, oh, this isn't going to end well.
It was a struggle last night on the way home, Wapple. Yeah, we all been there. So, but you didn't get lucky and get to watch some poor bastard go into the ditch. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again to those out there plowing. Yeah, they made it easy for
Thank
me.
you.
Sorry you had a tough time there, Ashley.
It's okay. I'm sure they're just overloaded right now because, I don't think anyone was really expecting it to snow like it did.
I heard about it all day.
Yeah, I don't know. They were talking about it all day yesterday.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I guess I watched nothing where I would have heard anybody talking about it.
But yet you made the statement that nobody was talking about it.
I like that.
They weren't reporting on the snowstorm on Pornhub or anything like that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't on Twitter or Instagram.
Nobody was talking about it. Yes, they were. Well, I wasn't listening, actually, so that's why I didn't hear. Josh, have you ever experienced wasting love in a desperate caress? Wasting love in a desperate caress. Iron Maiden, 1990.
I've got some Iron Maiden news coming up
on the
news.
That was the Fear of the Dark record. 90, 91, 92. Now I can't remember. 92.
I'm trying to see if our buddy Frankie McDonald, the Nova Scotia weatherman, he tells us what's going on in the world of weather. If
Well, he's
said
your
anything.
personal weatherman.
Yeah, what's
Well,
going
he's
on with him?
everybody's weatherman. I'd love to claim him.
You knew him before anybody else did.
He's not saying anything about what happened. Must not have been big enough.
He kind of got big time.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's got merchandise and he's known worldwide.
Oh, that's cool. Good for him.
I remember he used to do kind of smaller snowstorms because we were closer to him, and now he just really does those big, massive storms.
Again, Josh is a
Good for
humble
him.
guy. Josh discovered him before anybody else did.
Well, I could say
Kinda
I was
like
there in the
discovered-
early days, but
You
I
were.
didn't discover it.
I discovered Nas Reed. Josh discovered Frankie McDonald.
And Sheriff Judd.
Who?
Sheriff Judd.
Sheriff
Grady Judd?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm somewhat of a fan, as might be indicated by the Sheriff Grady Judd T-shirt I'm wearing right now.
Perfect.
I'm not joking. I have a Grady Judd T-shirt on right this second.
That's amazing.
All right, before we get the hell out of here and take a little break, Ski, you guys know that Motley Crue concert that nobody's talking about?
Yeah, haven't heard anybody talk about it.
Motley Crue playing at the State Fair. This is just the funniest bit I've heard in a long time. They're coming to the State Fair on August 29th. We got a 93X pre-sale. How do you say it, Josh?
Pre-sale.
We have a 93X pre-sale today from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. with the code 93X Radio. If you just can't wait to get out and see Motley Crue at the State Fair this summer, the 93X pre-sale today from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. with the code, what did I say it was? 93X Radio.
Do you remember what we used to call it back in our more scandalous days around here?
What we
when
used to call what?
Now it's a 93X pre-sale. Remember what we used to call those?
Did we call it, don't tell me, did we call it the premature... Oh, right.
Yeah.
The premature ticket discharge.
We sure did. That's right. Because we're rock radio.
Oh, Lordy.
And you
We're
wonder...
going to rock your balls off.
You wonder why Josh and I go on and on about how much we despised the old days. The old days were a struggle.
Can't we just call it a ticket pre-sale?
Yeah.
Let's make a reference to an ejaculation, of course. An unexpected ejaculation.
Your ability to buy tickets came early.
We were just perpetually in 9th grade
Yep.
around here for...
Gosh, you should be an old school rock radio voiceover guy. That's a pretty good impression you just did there.
Well, I'll tell you. Back in the day, it was like you said, Nick, it was perpetual 9th grade. Even in our early 20s, we thought it was dumb.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff. I know we've brought this up so much, but I have to bring it up again because it was the
God.
dumbest thing we've ever done.
I know where he's going already.
We gave away turkeys that rock for Thanksgiving. And what we did, you see, this is what made these turkeys far more entertaining than your average Thanksgiving turkey. We stuffed Hard Rock CDs straight up its ass.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Mom, job's going great. We've got this wonderful promotion you should hear about.
There you go.
I just picture the family carving the turkey. Grandpa, he's doing it. It's tradition. Grandpa does it every year, and then he goes right into an Iron Maiden CD.
Is that disturbed?
we never had anything as cool as an Iron Maiden CD in there, and you know it.
Yeah, you're right.
It was
Okay.
usually something by POD or something,
POD.
So, again, everyone's talking about the Motley Crue show coming up this summer at the State Fair. We got to take a break. We'll be right back on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
Standard Heating is having their 94-year celebration. They have special offers just for you this February. Whether you need a new furnace or a tune-up, they have something special for everyone. Visit standardheating.com to save today.
What companies deserve your hard-earned dollar? Which would you want to work for? How can you know if they share your values? Just ask us. Just Capital is a nonprofit that tracks who really means business in supporting workers, customers, communities, the environment, and shareholders. We measure progress, track success, and help them be better. When you see the Just Capital seal, you know what's real, because just business is better business. Visit justcapital.com to learn who makes your dollar count.
Stupid news on the half-assed morning show.
I think I'm all set for this. Oh, being how we're one day removed from Valentine's Day, folks have been texted in about love. They mentioned that. See if I can keep up with all this. They mentioned that they believe in a thing called love. They're all out of love. Some believe that love is for suckers. Some said that LOVE, all I need's my love machine. What band? Wasp. A few of our listeners admitted to loving Lamp.
I love Lamp.
They mentioned modern love, endless love, muskrat love, and many of them just called to say I love you. So I think we've covered everything.
Well, I noticed one person said they'd do anything for love, but they won't do that.
Not after we heard what that is. Not after we heard what that is. Speaking of all out of love, next Saturday, a week from this Saturday, I'll be attending, I believe, what will be my 4th Air Supply concert.
I've never had the pleasure.
They are one terrific live act. One outstanding live act.
I was once shamed for liking Air Supply.
What kind of ignorant bastard shamed you for being a fan of Air, by God, Woo Supply?
Joe Piscopo.
Joe Piscopo.
Yeah. He shamed me for liking Air Supply.
That almost sounds like a Mad Lib.
I did not expect that answer.
No.
Former Saturday Night Live comic Joe Piscopo.
Right.
They were going to say like
funny comic, not an Air Supply. Well, maybe he is now, but at the time, he shamed me for liking Air Supply.
So funny.
Well, it makes me dislike him even more than I did in 1985.
Can I change your mind on him? You know who he does like?
Joe Piscopo.
Yes.
I would love for you to change my mind on Joe Piscopo.
Big fan of Chicago.
Chicago?
The band.
The band.
I don't know about the city, but the band.
I'll be damned.
Does that turn things around for you?
Well, I'm a Chicago fan too, sure.
As am I.
Mm-hmm.
You can love both.
All right, for starters here in the stupid news, we're going to cover an incident that took place down there in Florida back in November. For whatever reason, it's just coming to light now. Doesn't matter why, I guess. But I just got to say that this is one of the most frightening and strange and embarrassing stories I've ever heard of. One of the most frightening, strange, and embarrassing videos I've ever watched. It's so effed up, it's hard to believe. A cop down there in Florida has resigned after mistaking a falling acorn for a gunshot and then unloading his weapon towards an not armed. He then unloaded his weapon towards an unarmed suspect who was handcuffed in their patrol car.
This story's incredible for so many reasons.
But again, the cop, and I'll explain the whole story. You're right, so many reasons. I've never seen anything like this. The cop mistook the sound of an acorn hitting the roof of the patrol car for a gunshot. He thought it was a muffled gunshot. And all hell cut absolutely loose. So again, this was back in November. Okaloosa County Sheriff's Deputy Jesse Hernandez. He went ahead and handed in his badge in December because of this. Another cop at the scene, a sergeant by the name of Beth Roberts, who also opened fire, was exonerated after an internal investigation. She remains, or at least recently remained, on the job. The suspect, a young fella named Marquise Jackson, who was cuffed in the back of the cop car, was luckily uninjured. But he did say the situation was traumatic. Damn, I bet.
That's probably the most amazing part of the story is you have two police officers unloading their weapons in the same direction towards this guy, and he's not injured. I feel bad. Well,
it's a friggin' miracle.
He doesn't have the best record, let's say. This gentleman might not be the best guy in the world, but I do feel, but that's a horrible situation. For everybody. I feel bad for this cop that resigned. How embarrassing. And the lady that just thought she was doing her job, like, I got to save his life. She gets into it, too.
The shooting was all captured on body cam footage, on the body cam of this Hernandez cop. And it's just straight up mental to watch.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! I'm hit! In the car! I was shot through the car! Oh! It might have hit my vest. I don't know. I don't know. It felt like it. Dude, am I hit?
No.
No, you're not. No, not at all, man.
All right, let me tell you the whole story now for folks who haven't seen the video or anything. The cops responded to an apartment. There was a complaint from this Marquise Jackson kid's girlfriend. She claimed that he had committed grand theft auto. He was threatening her. He was in possession of multiple firearms. He was searched and detained and handcuffed, this Jackson kid. The two cops, Hernandez, and what did I say her name was? Roberts. They had cuffed the kid, put him in the back of the squad. And the cops are kind of walking around. I think they were looking for this stolen car that the girlfriend was talking about. Hernandez approaches the right rear door of the squad car to search the kid again, I guess, even though he was already cuffed in the back of the car.
The girlfriend said he might still have a weapon on him. So they
even after they cuffed him?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were double checking.
And that's when an acorn, I couldn't see it in the video. I watched the video a few times, and some people I saw, average citizens commenting on this story, and they said, well, look, you can see the acorn falling from I never saw it.
If you see the freeze frame, that's all I could. And I was surprised you couldn't hear it because we've got neighbors that have acorns fall from their tree, and it hits their house, and it's incredibly loud. Loud.
I also never heard the acorn
didn't either.
Hit the lid of this cop car. So when the acorn hits the lid of the cop car, this Hernandez cop, he thought it was a muffled gunshot. And he flipped out. You hear it in the audio. He's screaming, shots fired. He's barrel rolling around on the ground to get behind another car, for cover, as they call it in the business. Then he dumps a pile of shots at the back of his own patrol vehicle. He thought he had been shot. He's saying, I'm hit. His partner, the gal Roberts, she then also responded with gunshots towards the car. Hernandez had convinced her that there was a real threat going on. No criminal charges were filed against either officer, but he's handed in his badge. I mean, this is just so effing strange and scary. I know nothing about how to be a cop. The stress of the job, especially these days, must be off the charts. And in my opinion, this Hernandez cop must have been wound so tight going into that situation for whatever reason that he was just a walking accident waiting to happen. And he came undone.
Yeah, probably good. He's done, before anything worse could happen. But it is amazing this guy wasn't injured.
Dude,
thank God.
I'll be damned.
Well, you mentioned you've never seen anything like that before. Maybe you're forgetting. We've all seen something like that before, but it was about a race car driver who thought he was on fire.
I'm on fire! There is no fire!
Something looks wrong. I mean, he's running around like he's on fire.
Oh my God, help me! I don't want to die! Oh, stop, drop, and roll!
You're not on fire, Ricky Bobby!
I'm on fire! Help me, Tom Cruise! Tom Cruise using witchcraft on me to get the fire off me!
That witchcraft line got me big time in the theater.
Yeah.
You see, I watched that video also many times. I never saw any fire.
I didn't either. It's very similar to what happened here.
Man.
If I was that other cop, I would do exactly what she did. Not even know what you're shooting at, but the other cop's shooting. All right, I gotta shoot this way too.
Well, I was wondering if a cop could text in. I'm wondering if that's part of their training. The guy says, I've been hit, right? They're shooting at me.
Suppressive fire.
Pardon me?
He thought there was a suppressor on the gun. That's why it sounded the way it did. Yeah, I wonder, maybe a police officer can let us know. What are you trained to do in that situation?
Right. The gal, she thought, because of her partner's actions, that there was a real threat. I think, hell, what do I know? But it's just, the video's insane, and it scares the living hell out of me.
And thankfully, nobody just around. I mean, the girlfriend was out, or nobody else was there.
Really?
Or nobody
Someone
else got
out
hit.
walking their dog or something. My God. All right, up next here, and just for the record, is there something wrong? I can barely hear anything out of my stinking headphones here. Did we blow a fuse or something?
I'm okay over here.
Anyone else having problems?
Did you accidentally turn it down?
Oh, I got her maxed out. Up next here, this next adventure must have been the results of some hard-ass street drugs. And whatever you did there, Josh, it worked. I can hear.
That's better?
Much better. This must have been the result of some bathtub street drugs, because even the straight-up dumbest sumbitch in town would have had second thoughts about committing a crime like this if they were sober. Street drugs, it's got to be it, because if you're sober, I don't know how you... A 26-year-old dude in Michigan broke into a county jail.
Whoops.
You think that would be the last place you'd want to break into, but...
He broke into his neighborhood county jail with a knife. And then he started to try and break into an ATM in the lobby of the county jail, where a lot of cops might be found at any given time.
That's the only one he could think of.
That's bathtub drugs, right?
Yeah, has to be.
Of course, the corrections officers saw him and called in some real cops who noticed he had a knife. It's unclear if the knife was meant to hurt anybody or intimidate anybody, or if he was just going to use it to somehow cut his way into the ATM machine or something like that. In any event, they trapped him inside the jail by locking the exterior doors electronically, which is possible because it's a jail. That's how they do it. Beep, you're locked in or out. They press a button. Cops came, arrested him, and he was escorted into the jail, which was just down the friggin' hallway.
That's convenient.
Yeah.
You're going to jail, and here we are. It's that fast. I'm not going to make it easy for you coppers as you take me to jail. We're here already. It's right here. What do I have now? We're back in Florida. Jesus Christ. Oh, perfect. We were just talking about this a few minutes ago. You guys are going to have to fall down and touch yourselves here, because I think this story involves that Sheriff Brady Judd that you guys
it does,
can't get enough of that. You can't get enough of that guy.
Grady, but yes.
Love him.
Who?
Grady. You said Brady.
Oh,
yeah.
Grady, not Brady.
Please, he deserves your respect.
Yeah. Here's a guy who would do just about any damn thing to impress his ex-girlfriend, especially on Valentine's Day yesterday. He would. He'd do any damn thing. But he effed up this time around. It says here a, quote, would-be Romeo by the name of Anthony Lewis wanted to make up with his ex-girlfriend. And he decided to get her a pair of statues for Valentine's Day. But he didn't want to be effing around. He didn't want to bother buying the statues, so he just went ahead and snatched them out of some old lady's yard. They were two statues of sandhill cranes. Do you know what that means?
I didn't. I saw the picture in the story, so that's...
Sandhill cranes.
Wouldn't have been able to picture before. You would have known beforehand?
Oh, definitely. We have them a lot in Lino Lakes and the chain of lakes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Would not know that.
I mean, we have cranes. I don't know what the hell type they are. So he stole these two statues out of the lady's yard, statues of sandhill cranes, and he's been arrested for stealing the crane statues. The local cops found the statues at this Lewis fella's ex-girlfriend's place. She didn't know they were stolen. She was as embarrassed as hell.
How would you respond to something like that, Ashley? You find out your boyfriend got you something, and then you realize later when the cops show up at your door, he stole those to give them to you.
I'd be pretty pissed off, but also I feel like there was an extra layer of effort there.
Nice gesture to go ahead and steal them.
You mean the effort of just driving home, happened to notice it, pick them up and bring them to you and pretend he bought them?
He probably put his life at risk, you know.
So this Lewis guy's being held in the county jail. Where's Grady Judge? Doesn't he usually have something cute to say about?
He really didn't, unfortunately. He's usually so good at some of his quips. It was pretty much exactly the story you read.
He doesn't have any crane jokes?
No.
Everyone has an off day.
Yeah, he was more matter of fact here.
He really liked to plug a local coffee shop, though.
He did mention a coffee shop for some reason a few times.
I was like, good for him getting some endorsements.
You think that's what it was?
Yeah.
What's
Like
happening
those
now?
kids,
When he does his videos, he plugs a local coffee shop?
Yeah, he did this time. It's like those the YouTube kids, and they're like, hey, if you really want to get into it, drink this energy drink. Ghost Energy.
Classic Country Jesus on Sandhill Cranes says they're known as the ribeye of the sky. They're extremely good to eat.
Oh.
Well, I'll be damned.
Well, I'd like to try that out then.
Man, they come up with fun and entertaining ways to arrest folks down there in, how do you call it again, Peru. And maybe it's not even down there. I couldn't tell you where it is. They find all kinds of fun and entertaining ways to arrest folks in Peru. A Peruvian cop was able to pinch a suspected lady drug dealer by dressing up in a giant teddy bear mascot outfit, and then he hung around out on the street and called the drug dealer gal out of her apartment by leading her to believe that he was there to deliver her a box of chocolates for Valentine's Day. There's a video going round and round of this deal. The cop, dressed as a massive teddy bear, he's down on one knee. He's holding a sign that says, "You're my reason to smile." And he's also got a box of candy and a heart-shaped balloon.
Oh, that's sweet.
Hanging out on the street in front of her apartment. So this dumbbell lady drug dealer eventually comes on out of her apartment, thinking that somebody out there might want to get in her pants. And that's when they knocked her down onto her face and arrested her. It's friggin' hilarious.
It's very funny. You're right, though. They get creative with their arrests in Peru.
Yeah.
I like that.
This gal was thinking, I'll be damned. Somebody wants to give me the high hard one. I'm going to get a little action out of this. Son of a bitch, I'm under arrest. This is a somewhat common routine by an elite group of drug enforcement officers down in that neighborhood called the Green Squadron. And when they pounced on this lady and 619'd her down onto the damn sidewalk, they found a pile of heroin all over the place. So they got the right character. But they like to put on cute little shows like this from time to time to fool these assbag drug dealers. And it works. I think we talked about this one, didn't we? Number one Brady Judge fan, Cubby, over there.
Grady Judge, but yeah. In December there.
In December, an undercover officer disguised himself as Santa Claus. He walked through a neighborhood waving and calling out for everyone to have a Merry Christmas right before he kicked in a door and busted up a drug den.
I can't imagine Santa Claus kicking in my front door.
He slapped a couple of folks in the mouth. Get down, you dirty bastards.
You're on the naughty list.
He beat everybody's ass in that drug den.
Imagine, too, if you're high on your own supply when Santa comes kicking in the door. That would just be terrifying.
Yeah.
Get your high off your balls and getting your ass whooped by Santa Claus.
Wasn't it in Mexico there was an undercover group of cops and they were dressed up for Halloween and they busted some people?
Yes. Okay. I can't remember if it was Mexico, but yeah, I remember that gang of characters. They put on a good show, too. One of them was Freddy Krueger. The other one was
Jason.
Star Trek Spock or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Spock.
Somebody.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
Booger-eating, derelict, blood fart Jesus.
Oh, my God. Stop that. You have to change your name. You cannot be that name.
Nobody wants to say booger-eating, derelict, blood fart Jesus on the radio.
God help us all.
Because booger-eating, derelict, blood fart Jesus, that's just gross. But he said people are forgetting that the ribeye of the sky are a protected bird, and it's illegal to kill/eat.
Oh.
But he said they're also correct. They're delicious.
He knows from experience.
Crane eater. Friggin' potheads in California. Jesus criminy. They might be able to save some monies on their bong budget this week. The local cops are going to go ahead and auction off bongs and other dirty pot-smoking devices that they recently seized from some crooked cannabis shops. It says here the items that they've got over there are things like pipes, furniture, and electronics. And that kind of gear will be auctioned off this Friday in the parking lot of the California Highway Patrol's Los Angeles headquarters.
What's the most expensive bong you have ever owned, Wobble?
Ever owned?
Yeah. Or maybe one of your roommates or something like. Is there an impressive number?
It wasn't really impressive, but $250?
That seems pretty expensive.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's not?
No, not at all.
They can get insane. Like some of them at, Hideaway, they can get up to like $5,000.
Oh,
Yeah, they're super cool.
That's kid stuff.
I got to text a buddy because he had one in college that was an alien, and it was maybe 3 or 4 feet tall. It was gigantic. I gotta ask.
The more you spend, does that get you like a better high, or is it just because they look really cool and are interesting, kind of almost artwork?
Really cool. It's more of an art piece at that point. Because they'll make some that look like giant swords that are like 6 feet tall.
Yeah, those are
really?
cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane what some of these people can do. They'll make. I saw one. It looked like that fish in the ocean that has the light in front. I think it's an anglerfish or something.
Yeah.
They made one like that, and then the angle part of the fish was where you put your weed.
That's so cool.
No, it isn't.
My buddy had a 6-foot bong, and that cost him, I think, like $400 or $500.
Is it intimidating to smoke drugs through a device that's taller than you are?
Yes, very much, actually.
Pickle Rick said in college they had a $2,000 6-footer.
$200? What did he say?
$2,000.
$2,000. So again, here's the deal. The cops raided these crooked cannabis shops. They got a bunch of bongs, and they're going to auction them off in a parking lot. All the dirty, smelly, weed-related merchandise comes from 10 cannabis businesses. I got crazy there. They come from 10 cannabis businesses that were busted in the past few months. One of the shops was legitimate, but that one was raided too for evading taxes. There are some non-grass-related things that were seized from these cannabis joints that will also be auctioned off, like a snow cone machine.
Oh, man. That'd be kind of cool.
I would love a snow cone machine.
That's one of those where I'd bring it home and realize I'm never going to use this.
Yeah, you'd maybe set it up once, realize it's a whole process, and then it would sit in a closet forever.
We bought an ice cream maker and thought, what a fun activity this will be for us and the kids, and we never used it.
I
Never
want one
once.
of those nice ones, though. They make, like, really bougie ones.
Even when I was a kid, I did not get the draw of the snow cone.
Oh, really? I sure loved them.
I didn't get it.
Did you like slushies?
Yeah, that's totally different. You don't have to chew a damn slushie. That was my thing with snow cones. I got to chew on flavored ice?
Usually if I get a snow cone, it probably defeats the purpose of it being a snow cone because I get a spoon.
Just give me a glass.
I soften them up a little bit.
I didn't get it. Chewing on ice is not an enjoyable experience.
Even as a kid, huh?
No. Just give me a glass of the juice that you squirt on top of the...
Right,
what the hell?
That is the best, is when you get the juice at the end.
So why am I chewing on ice?
When you bite into it too soon, you're biting straight freezing ice.
What did you say? The gimmick you said a minute ago? A what, Josh?
Which snow cone?
Slushy.
Slushy?
Slushies were incredible.
They are awesome.
Gas station slushies.
What about a Mr. Misty?
Oh,
Give me
dude,
some.
don't even. Oh, wow,
Classic Country Jesus and a bunch of people in the Brother and Sisterhood have checked back in on Sandhill cranes. So overwhelmingly, the response says, yes, they are protected, but there's a hunting season, so you can eat legally Sandhill crane.
Okay.
There's folks that know stuff out there.
Fair. Oh, absolutely. Our listening audience is loaded with folks who know stuff. So, back to these items that are going to get auctioned off because the cops busted these crooked cannabis joints in California. They're going to auction off a snow cone machine. Oh, and here's my favorite part. There will be framed art from the cannabis shops that you can buy. Let me guess. A pot leaf with Janet Japa. What was her name again? Janis Joplin, Jerry Garcia, Cheech and Chong, or Bob Marley in the background.
Oh, and it'll definitely glow with a black light or something.
Yeah. I'll give you $100 if that's not in that friggin' auction.
Oh, there'll definitely be a Bob Marley poster.
Whole Frog Protection Jesus has an old-fashioned popcorn popper like the movie theaters. Used it twice. Mm-hmm. I always wanted one of those as well.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it'd be the same thing.
Yeah, I dated a girl whose parents had one at their house, and I was like, "Oh, do you guys make popcorn?" They're like, 9 times out of 10, we just microwave a bag of popcorn.
It's so much easier.
And we can shut her down after this frustrating and wildly predictable story. In Idaho, lawmakers have come up with a hilarious proposal. They're recommending a new mandatory minimum dollar amount as far as the fine for small amounts of marijuana. You want to go ahead and try to guess the number? Yes, that's correct. $420 will be the new mandatory minimum fine for small amounts of marijuana.
That's cute. That's what that is.
That's a lot.
You want to talk about a lot? Possession of more than 3 ounces of ganj, or as a friend of mine would call it, geef, or as another friend of mine would call it, queef. Possessions of more than 3 ounces of ganj, geef, or queef is a prison sentence of up to 5 years, or a maximum fine of $10,000, or both.
Well, the judge really doesn't like you if he gives you both.
Mm-hmm. I told you that story before. I got a buddy. He drinks all day, doesn't have a job. That's what he does. He drinks, puts on weight, smokes cigarettes.
Sounds like the life.
Yeah, you'd think so. You'd think so. But, so he gets drunk all day and smokes 3-4 packs of cigarettes. In the morning, of course, his body is completely worn down. Just completely worn down. So what does he do? He drinks 5 or 6 pots of coffee.
Oh.
To get himself going again for a full day of drinking and smoking cigarettes and not doing anything. And I'm not kidding. He doesn't do anything. But in the morning, he gets all that coffee in him. He starts talking real fast like this. He's a fast talker anyway. But you give him that coffee, he starts talking fast. And one morning, we were all hanging around, including his mother was there. It was like a family get-together. And the fast-talking guy, his girlfriend was there. And, he's 3 pots of coffee into it, and he's talking about his younger days of when he used to smoke a lot of pot. And he's like, I remember one time we were all hanging around, we were smoking queef, and this one guy said to me this, the other guy said this, and we were smoking queef. And his girlfriend says, hang on a second. You were smoking queef? Isn't that gas that comes out of the... And that's when my fast-talking buddy's mother said, I think I'm going to go find something else to do for the rest of the Smoking queef. What's the matter with you?
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
What's today? It's Thursday.
It's Thursday. The day you used to get a jump on the weekend and start drinking. But now you drink every day.
Thursday, baby.
Thursdays are for drinkers. Take a back seat, potheads. Give it a rest. Had someone text about pot. We were talking about these fancy schmancy bongs. They're 6 feet tall. They cost $1,200. My bong does this. It's shaped like Godzilla. I got one shaped like a sword. One of our listeners texted in and said these kids and their fancy drug bongs. Smoke a joint, eat a Twinkie, go to bed, go again, and then go to work the next day, for Christ's sake.
I'm waiting to hear back from a buddy who had like a 3 or 4 foot alien bong. I asked him how much that costs because Wapo was saying you can spend what'd you say, $5,000 on something like that?
Oh yeah, you can even get up to more.
That must have been something.
Yeah, I'm online looking at some on Google, and they're like $27,000.
Oh my! Oh wow!
I'm not happy unless I spend $50,000 on a bong.
Yeah, $27,000 bong. Does that even get you high? That doesn't even work.
I wouldn't even want to use it.
Who here had a friend with a wizard bong? I thought somebody once told a story about a wizard bong they saw.
It
Sure
also
that is.
sounds familiar to me. I had the friend who had a lizard. Is that what you're thinking?
No, it was a wizard,
Okay.
like something out of The Hobbit.
One of my buddies had a little pot-smoking device shaped like a lizard, not a whiz-erd. A listener texted in and said, for Christ's sake, if my bong costs more than my motorcycle, I'm questioning my life. Pigs have won 4 in a row. They beat the Coyotes last night in Tempe, Arizona. When's the NHL finally going to give up on that stupid idea to put a hockey team in Arizona?
I think they're sticking with it.
They can't be.
I've seen the talk about maybe moving it to Utah.
Oh, well, of course. Why wouldn't you move a professional hockey team to Utah, right? That's the problem. You got to eliminate 7 or 8 NHL teams and then 4 or 5 more of them. Put them in a city in Canada where they give a rat's ass. I'm tired of this crap. Pigs got to win, though. They won 4 in a row. They're playing well. What else is going on? Timberwolves been hanging around Oregon for the last few days. They're going to play another game tonight against the Portland Trailblazers. 9 o'clock on Bally Sports North. Golden Gopher men's basketball at Purdue, the number 2 team in America. Oh, I'm sick and tired of losing to Purdue. That's 7:30 tonight. Randy Shaver's going to be here about a half hour. And we can get into all kinds of other things. For now, stick around because Cubbies News is coming up.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
Standard Heating is having their 94-year celebration. They have special offers just for you this February. Whether you need a new furnace or a tune-up, they have something special for everyone. Visit standardheating.com to save today.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Join me and my compadre, Chris Brockman, every Monday on the Overreaction Monday podcast as we dive into the latest headlines across the NFL playoffs. Are you ready, Chris Brockman?
Just as handsome as ever, buddy.
I appreciate you saying that, and I wish I could say the same to you.
Come on.
There is a ton to overreact to, is now every other team that didn't make the playoffs, they're already looking forward to next year.
Yep.
Come react or overreact with us leading up to the big game. Overreaction Monday, wherever you listen.
Half-assed morning show. 93X.
At the conclusion of the Chiefs rally today, there were shots fired on the west side of Union Station. I'm angry at what happened today. The people who came to this celebration should expect a safe environment.
Well, this is terrible. 1 person was killed, 22 others injured yesterday after a shooting near the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl parade. Panicked crowds raced for cover as gunfire erupted west of Union Station at the end of the victory parade, attended by hundreds of thousands of fans.
Guys. Something's going on.
I have shots fired on the west side.
We just heard a bunch of, pop, and people started running.
Immediately, officers responded to the area, took 2 people into custody.
Everyone started running out of the building, and you could hear people yelling, active shooter, active shooter.
The Kansas City Police Department said 1 person died, a total of 22 wounded by that gunfire, including 9 children, as several Chiefs players rushed in to help calm the panicked kids. 3 sports journalists who were reporting live on air realized what was happening. The Channel 41 reporters were discussing the day's celebrations while they slowly realized there was an unusual amount of shrieking and running coming from the thousands of fans in the streets.
We might have a situation here we're trying to keep an eye on.
The mood has definitely shifted here as we're seeing everybody jump barriers.
Another video showed 2 people chase and tackle a person, holding them down until 2 police officers arrived.
So I went to go tackle him, and another gentleman did the same thing. And as I'm tackling him, I see his weapon either fall out of his hand or out of his sleeve.
The team confirmed players, staff, and their families were all accounted for, but sadly, a local radio station employee, mother of 2 and diehard Chiefs fan, died during surgery at a local hospital. Police say the shooting was not terrorism related.
Every day, Cubby, I get a little more sick to my stomach.
How sad.
Because of what we've become. This is what we're known for now, and it makes me friggin' sick, and it pisses me off quite a bit.
I guess it's been bad in Kansas City the last few years. It's the federal government has pointed to Kansas City as one of several cities. They're having a big rise in crime and too many people getting hurt. But yeah, it was a joyous occasion up until then. I mean, it seemed like everybody was having a great time. everyone was probably a little too drunk, and then this happens. It was awful.
Disgusting.
We used to be able to, be prideful in the kind of people we were. We used to say, that would never happen in America. Look at the way those animals operate in these other countries. That would never happen here. We're Americans. Totally different story now. We can't say that anymore. It's friggin' shameful.
Yeah, you can't. Nobody would look at you with a straight face if you said that anymore, unfortunately. You're right. You'd see like at other, other sporting events in other parts of the world, people fighting in the stands and stuff like that, and think, how silly is that? They can't figure it out. And you're right. Here we are. 3 South Carolina sheriff's deputies have been accused of making 5 separate hoax emergencies. This is weird. They apparently would call businesses and police departments about finding dead bodies while they were on duty.
Prank calls happen, but you don't expect it from cops because we're supposed to be calling them to help us out. I just think it's messed up for it to happen like that.
I think it's messed up, too.
Are they hiring 8th graders?
Well, they're young guys. 20s, but old enough to know better. While the trio were on duty, investigators say they called convenience stores and local law enforcement agencies in 4 different towns and told whomever answered the phone about the location of a dead body within their municipalities.
It sounds like it's childish. They have the power to take our freedom away. They can arrest us. So I would want the best of the best to be there.
In at least 2 of the phone calls, the trio allegedly said they found a dead body on some railroad tracks. And at least one instance, other deputies aided in the search for the non-existent bodies. Each phone call triggered an emergency response from the local police department. And in each case, officers and other emergency workers responded until it was determined the reports weren't true.
I just don't see what's to be gained by stuff of that nature, and it just confuses me. I just want to wonder why.
It remains unclear what may have allegedly motivated the men to make the phony calls. If convicted, they could face up to 5 years behind bars, and obviously they all lost their jobs. I hope it was worth it.
Hello, I'm Officer Johnny Knoxville, and I'm Officer Steve-O. And we are here to, that's what it comes off to me. It comes off like 2 dorks doing a prank show.
Well, 3. They got 3 guys doing it. How the heck? My goodness. What are they thinking? Honestly.
So it's Knoxville, Steve-O, and Bam, huh? All 3 of them were there.
It's just nice they can get along nowadays.
That's a good point. Yeah, they did have beef for a long time.
A severely burned Indian woman who was thought to be dead reportedly woke up in a hearse moments before she was going to be cremated. Where the burning would have been much worse, I'd imagine, and more permanent. The 52-year-old suffered burns over half her body in a February 1st house fire and was treated at what must have been a not very good hospital.
No.
Because they incorrectly thought the poor woman was dead. On the way to be cremated, the woman opened her eyes and scared the bejeepers out of the hearse driver, who said he then took the much-alive woman back to her home in the same vehicle.
Where do you want me to drop you off?
Incidents of people found breathing after being declared dead are rare but not unheard of. Last February, an 82-year-old woman also seemingly rose from the dead on Long Island after she was pronounced dead. After being transported to a funeral home, the woman was found to be breathing. Funeral home workers made the shocking discovery, and the unidentified octogenarian was then brought to an area hospital.
Man.
It was unclear if the woman was declared dead by mistake or if she experienced a medical episode which would have contributed to her apparent resurrection. The previous week, an Iowa nursing home was fined $10,000 for pronouncing a hospice patient dead and shipping her to a nursing home where she was actually found to be alive. A funeral home employee unzipped the body bag. The 66-year-old woman was inside and found her gasping for air. The staffer called 911 and the woman was transported to a nearby hospital where she was confirmed to be breathing.
I'm no doctor, but I think I don't know, my assumption is it can't be that difficult to be able to determine if someone is dead versus alive.
Oh, you whisper something funny in their ear.
Yeah. You tickle them a little bit.
Yeah.
Boobies. And then if they start laughing, then you know they're alive.
That's got to be beginner stuff for doctors, right? Dead versus alive. How do you tell?
William Bill Post, the man who created the beloved toaster treat Pop-Tarts, has gone to the giant toaster in the sky. His family announced that Post died on Saturday at the age of 96. Post, a Michigan native and World War II vet, worked his way up from a truck washer to a senior vice president of the Keebler Company, where he ultimately brightened millions of Americans' mornings with the sweet pastry, which hit shelves in 1964. This happened after he was approached by breakfast foods leader Kellogg's about developing an idea for a new breakfast pastry which could be used in the toaster.
I was about 8. They invented the Pop-Tart. The back of my head blew right off. I was in the supermarket aisle with my mother, and I'm like, hold it, hold up, hold everything. The hell is that? Fruit-filled frosted rectangles in the shape of the box. What is this? It was perfect. 2 in each packet, 2 slots in the toaster. I can do this.
Pop-Tarts made their debut with the 4 original flavors: strawberry, blueberry, brown sugar, cinnamon, and apple. Now, 60 years later, there's between 20 and 30 flavors on the market at any given time, with new flavors constantly being in development. The great-grandfather's often credited with inventing the breakfast treat, though he would always say it was a team effort. His story has inspired a Netflix film scheduled to be released on May 3rd.
Dessert for breakfast.
There's always a surprise inside the box.
The movie, Unfrosted, the Pop-Tart story, is written and directed by Jerry Seinfeld, who we heard earlier. He's starring in it alongside Melissa McCarthy, Christian Slater, Bill Burr, James Marsden, Jack McBrayer, Fred Armisen, and more.
I'm just glad you lived long enough to see the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Yeah.
Where they sacrificed that Pop-Tart through the giant toaster, and then the guys from Kansas State all grabbed a handful of it and ate it.
Gosh, I loved that so much.
That was pretty funny.
Sure, the college ball game. I forgot about the Pop-Tart Bowl. Lost a lot of money on that one.
Oh, no.
A lot of money.
An argument over kitchen usage turned violent Monday afternoon when 28-year-old Jaquila Mobley grabbed some of the breakfast grits being cooked by her 34-year-old mother and then hit her in the face with them.
God damn.
The victim, Isla Johnson, told Florida cops that Mobley had been drinking and using drugs, and when she does this, she becomes aggressive towards her. A sheriff's deputy noted that he observed dried grits on the side of the victim's face, as well as matching grits on the counter and in a nearby dustpan. The daughter was arrested for battery.
It's terrible.
A New Mexico burglar made himself at home during a recent break-in at a stranger's house, cooking himself a meal of noodles and hot chocolate before he was arrested.
Oh, sounds delightful.
44-year-old Tommy Lee Lucero was found Saturday inside a desert home in a small community just over the Texas border outside El Paso. The woman who lived at the house returned from school about 6 p.m. when she discovered the man hanging out in her bedroom. After screaming, "Get the F out of my house!" she bolted and ran to the home of a neighbor to call police. Lucero was still at the house when officers arrived to arrest him. The woman was brought back to check through the home to see if anything was amiss, which she found to be the case. He apparently had cooked up a bowl of ramen noodles, made some hot chocolate, and fixed himself some leftovers from the fridge. He also emptied food out of the fridge and pantry, bagged it, and tossed it into a yard and the laundry room.
He bagged up some food and tossed it into somebody's yard?
Yeah, maybe to retrieve later. Inside the bags of food thrown outside were photos belonging to the woman, which had been torn into small pieces.
Oh, that's scary.
He also allegedly moved a number of men's shower products from a guest bathroom into the master bathroom and removed the woman's products from the shower. Beside that, he swiped 10 pairs of her shoes and kicked his own off to try on a pair of hers. He also allegedly took some cash she left laying around. When police confronted him, he told them that he owned the house, and he shared it with his girlfriend, who he said he'd been dating since preschool.
Oh, boy.
Cops determined that was all false and took him into custody. He's a character, that one.
They were going for a long time.
We've been dating since we were 3.
He's coming up with as many details as he can to make it seem more believable. A 41-year-old inebriated man who vomited pizza all over himself and then passed out in front of an Arizona Denny's.
Yuck.
Was arrested on criminal trespass and disorderly conduct charges.
Oh, you don't like Denny's?
Bryson B. Lewis was reportedly asleep outside the Denny's February 6, about 4:20 p.m., when he was approached by Richard Fox, who woke him up to check on him. Lewis woke up, told Fox he was a gangsta, and began telling Fox to fight him, police said.
God.
Police arrived at the scene and saw Lewis was stumbling, unable to keep his balance, slurred his words, and smelled of alcohol. Cops said Lewis was covered in regurgitated pizza. He was uncooperative and reportedly told officers he was a gangster, so they shouldn't mess with him. Turns out they did mess with him, and he was taken into custody.
Regurgitated pizza.
A California woman allegedly shot an apologetic grandfather in the face over a minor fender bender. This lady. On Monday, February 5th, just before 8 p.m., the 59-year-old victim, Jonathan Mock, had gone to the Highland, California Walmart to buy ingredients for his beef jerky recipe. As the grandfather was backing up after passing a parking spot, he accidentally hit the vehicle of 37-year-old Shantice Norton, who was backing out of another spot, police said.
No.
The vehicle damage was by all accounts very minor, but Norton began screaming. And that's when witnesses said she retrieved a firearm and shot the victim in the face before fleeing.
There should be no leniency. This type of thing should not be tolerated. I couldn't imagine anybody getting that upset over something so small, so insignificant.
The victim's son said from what witnesses told him, his dad felt responsible for the incident. He said he was the one to blame, so he got out of the car to apologize, and that's when the other person went nuts and shot him. She was arrested last week. The senseless Walmart parking lot violence comes only weeks after a Colorado grandfather was also attacked following what should have been nothing more than a minor dispute. 60-year-old Richard Sanchez was shot when he got into an argument with a 13-year-old on a bus in Denver. Police believe the argument between the alleged teen shooter and Sanchez started over the elderly man accidentally blocking the aisle with his leg.
Here we go.
A man accused of using a samurai sword to attack his friend over an argument about an Xbox earlier this week is still on the run. 25-year-old Walter Grimes stopped by the victim's apartment Monday night to hang out. When Grimes asked the victim if he was just going to give him his Xbox, police said the victim replied no. Without saying anything, Grimes then grabbed a samurai sword in the apartment and struck the friend twice before running away. A neighbor reported hearing screams and saw the victim open his door while screaming, covered in blood. When the neighbor asked what had happened, the victim allegedly pointed to the sword on the ground and stated, "Walter stabbed me." The victim, who told police he was unsure if he wanted to pursue charges against his friend, suffered an approximately 3-inch long laceration to his upper left cheek, about 2-inch laceration to his left shoulder, and a small laceration to his right knuckle. So far, attempts to locate Walter have been unsuccessful. Now, Walter's a bad friend, but this other guy, he's a pretty good friend.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if he wants him to get in trouble.
I think I'd press some charges if that happened.
You would?
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
For the first time, 2 students received college athletic scholarships to play Division I cornhole.
Cool.
On National Signing Day, Thunder Ridge High School students Jackson Remick and Gavin Heyman from Colorado made history by becoming the first Division I 5-star cornhole recruits in the country.
I'm shocked. I mean, as everybody is, it's crazy. It's groundbreaking. It's new. It's making history.
I never could have thought that me playing just a fun side hustle would lead to college or going to a national level and playing.
Here's Winthrop University cornhole coach Dusty Thompson.
This is not just cornhole anymore. This is not just something you might see on ESPN and see pros playing. This is something that is now going to give kids an opportunity to get scholarships, potential full rides eventually.
Winthrop in Rock Hill, South Carolina is the first Division I institution to offer cornhole scholarships.
Do we play high school cornhole here in the state of Minnesota?
Boy, I don't know.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Let's ask Randy Shaver about that one. And isn't it just perfect that the coach of the college cornhole team is named Dusty?
That's pretty cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that name. Scientists in Peru have named a new species of lizard after Iron Maiden singer Bruce Dickinson. The previously undiscovered lizard was found on a mountain range 460 miles north of Lima, Peru. According to the Journal of Vertebrate Biology's website, best known as the lead singer of the legendary heavy metal band Iron Maiden, he's also a music producer, entrepreneur, competitive fencer, novelist, aviator, broadcaster, and the recipient of numerous honorary degrees and awards. In 2016, he flew a loggerhead sea turtle, which washed up on a Jersey beach, to the Canary Islands in his private plane, thus contributing to the awareness and protection of this vulnerable species, the website said.
He put a sea turtle in his airplane and flew it somewhere else?
He sure did. We also highlight that Iron Maiden is a popular band among taxonomists and museum curators who also appreciate rock music, the website said. The new lizard species will be known as Dickinson's wood lizards.
Wow. I mean, what else could the man accomplish at this point?
He deserves any accolades you can throw at him, Bruce Dickinson. Tonight on CBS, the 7th season premiere of Young Sheldon, followed by the 3rd season premiere of Ghosts. Thursday, August 29th, MLE Crew will perform at the Minnesota State Fair Grandstand. We have a... that gets you every time. The 93X pre-sale is today from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. with the code 93X Radio.
I can't help it.
I know.
It's funny.
You like to laugh at that.
It's funny.
Brandon Boyd of Incubus turns 48 today. Hockey star Jaromir Jagr, 52. Jagr will take a short break from the Czech League this week, travel to Pittsburgh, where his number 68 jersey will be retired at a ceremony on Sunday.
68. You do me, and I'll owe you one.
Then he's quickly back to the Czech Republic to prepare for his next game. Still going at 52. Alex Borstein, Lois Griffin on Family Guy. She turns 53 today. We'd like to send our best to Medical Chicken Lady Sheezus and family. They could use a shout-out this morning. They lost their good boy sheriff yesterday. So we were very sorry to hear that news, you guys. Overcaffeinated Jesus texts a shout-out to the Minnesota State Patrol, who he said has had a crazy night with all the crashes. Yeah, sounds bad in some areas. Best of luck to Bigfoot Jesus going in for breast cancer surgery today from Hardcore Flooring Jesus. Get well soon, Bigfoot Jesus. Congratulations to Skoll Jacks Me Up Jesus. Today's a big day for him. His last day at his job of 9 years, starting a new gig at Medtronic on Monday. And first-time texter, long-time listener Tony checked in to wish his Grandma Mary a happy 103rd birthday today. Happy birthday, Grandma Mary. And that's 93X News.
KARE 11's Randy Shaver.
He's a pay-per-view turd.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
I'm there coaching. Ant's on my team. Jump ball, Ant's on the bench. I don't know who Ant is, but jump ball. As soon as the other team get the possession, I swear anybody didn't take 2 dribbles, I get a tap on my shoulder. Oh, yeah. It's the director of the whole tournament. Why ain't number 2 in the game? I'm like, I don't know. Is he supposed to be? Yeah. He's the number 1 player in the country. But time out! Time out! Hey, Ant, go in. Who you want me to get, coach? Whoever you want, bro. Go on in. He ain't come out the rest of the game.
I'd be A1 from day one.
Former NBA point guard Jason Williams there. Apparently he coached Anthony Edwards on some kind of, under 15 all-star team or something like that, and he wasn't playing Anthony Edwards, and someone had to walk up to him on the bench and say, you got to play. Are you all right, Randy?
Yeah, sorry.
God, dang. And someone walked up and tapped him on the shoulder and said, you got to play this kid. He's the best in the country. Jason Williams.
I love that guy.
You do? Mm-hmm. What do you love about him so much?
He was fun to watch back in the day, and he does a lot of podcasts now. He's always entertaining, got fun stories.
Friggin' podcasts, man. He's got a podcast.
Yeah, everybody has a podcast.
Everybody's got a podcast.
A lot of podcasts out.
Lord have mercy. Randy Shaver, you crazy old bastard. What's going on?
Not much.
Feeling all right?
Yeah, I feel fine. Just kind of sound bad, but I feel fine.
What's the name of your podcast?
Yeah, what do you call it? Ass Man Incorporated?
Oh, I don't have a podcast.
Everybody's got a... We had a question for you right from the get-go.
That's the last thing I'd have is a podcast.
That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
You're on your way out anyway, so what the hell?
Way on my way out.
Right.
Yeah.
Randy's way down the road.
Yeah, you don't want to add something to the list.
Absolutely not.
You pull
Why would I do that?
That's silly.
We had a question for you right from the get-go. Do we play high school cornhole around here in the state of Minnesota?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I not as an organized high school league sport, no.
Okay. Josh was telling us a story in his news report about a couple of high school cornhole players in, Colorado, who just received full ride scholarships.
They weren't full rides.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But they did get scholarships.
They just received some kind of a scholarship to continue to throw bags at
scholarship to college?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At a joint called Winthrop University. They're the first ever high school cornhole kids to get a scholarship to play it at the collegiate level.
There's probably club play of some type, maybe something organized that I don't know about, but not as an organized actual sport.
Yeah, I would have probably heard of it by now.
Yeah,
just checking with you, see if you know anything.
Of course I don't.
Club sport, sure. I've told this story before. When I was driving Zamboni at Wayzata High School in the early 1990s, they called it. The early 90s. Wayzata had a girls' hockey team, but it wasn't, what's the verbiage you used? Full-on, all-out sanctioned high school sport.
Club team?
It was a club team. And they were absolutely brutally bad. It was painful to watch them play. Fast forward about 1 year, and the difference was unbelievable.
Sure.
Unbelievable. And now, of course, we have the women's pro hockey team here in town. It just goes to show you, give it time.
Right.
Give it time. Some of these gals could barely skate. But they wanted to have a team, and enough gals wanted to play. Go for it. 1 year later, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was incredible, the improvement.
If you remember, before girls hockey in Minnesota, there was ringette.
Right.
Ringette was the sport that girls were playing in the wintertime. And then that evolved into girls hockey. So.
Mm-hmm. And, speaking of my time at Wayzata High School when I was a student, nowadays, I don't follow high school sports much, but I know in the last 20-some years, Wayzata's won a football title or two, right? They've won a couple of hockey titles, right? We could never quite get there when I was a kid. We'd lose to Edina or friggin' stupid Minnetonka or some bunch of rich douchebags. You know how we are in Wayzata, all blue-collar people.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, when I was a kid, that was the truth. It's not the truth anymore. But anyway, we would always lose in the conference finals. We couldn't make it to the state tournament. But it's strange but true. You know what sport I guess Wayzata thrived in and won multiple state titles in? Fencing.
Oh, wow.
Sure.
True story. Here I am walking down the hallway my senior year of high school at Wayzata, and I walked past a sign on the wall that I never noticed there. Never noticed before in the 5 years of high school that I had already... I'm kidding, of course. In my 3 years of high school, I never noticed this sign on the wall, and it said, Minnesota State Fencing Champions, 1968, 74, 79, 82, and 85. And I said, what? Fencing? I didn't even know that... you folks, your high school have fencing?
No, we did not.
Didn't get the attention it deserved.
I'd never heard a word about it, and I passed by this plaque that commemorated all of our past fencing championships.
Isn't trap shooting starting to become really popular around here?
It is.
Yeah. It's always been popular over in Wisconsin.
Now,
I know
you
that.
mean as a high school activity?
It is.
It's a high school sport.
It is a sponsored sport.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that something?
That's so cool.
Insane.
Hey, speaking of high school, a high school kid by the name of Landon Rink from Texas. They say he might be the strongest athlete in the college football recruiting class of 20 plus 25. He's 6'2", 270-pound defensive lineman. He recorded a 605-pound squat. What does everybody here squat? Who wants to go first? What does everybody here squat?
I don't like to brag.
The bar.
The other day, I have to add it up because the bar's 45, right?
Yeah.
That's usually 45, and then 20-pound weights on each side.
Nice.
So
I only squat
it's
when
something.
I pee.
That's 85.
You only squat when, Josh?
When I
Thanks,
pee.
Randy.
When you take a whiz?
Yeah.
So this is a 6'2", 270-pound high school kid who squatted 605 pounds.
Wow.
That's the all-time school record, I guess.
I've got some work to do if I want to catch up there, huh?
I would hope so.
He lifted more than twice his body weight.
Wow.
To put that number in perspective, it says here, it was a big deal when Nick Chubb, is he an NFL running back?
Yeah, he was the Cleveland back that got hurt this year.
Well, his leg came off.
Yeah.
It was a big deal when Nick Chubb squatted 610 pounds 5 years into his NFL career. And this high school kid almost hit that mark. Nick Chubb, 5 years into his pro career. I'm sorry, if I said high school career, I'm sorry. Nick Chubb, 5 years into his pro career, squatted 610. Here's a high school kid who squatted 605. And it's not just his lower body. He hit 504 pounds on the bench press last week.
Oh my God.
He has 35 scholarship offers to play college football summers. Benching 504, squatting 605.
He could definitely crush a watermelon with his thighs, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Well,
that was like a bit for a while on the internet. People were crushing watermelons with their thighs.
I was going to say, Nick, you've been to a couple of gentlemen's clubs where you've seen things like that.
I'll be damned.
Wasn't it Lamar?
I couldn't hear a thing, Josh. Couldn't hear a thing. I'll tell you that much. Lamar Jackson, go ahead.
I think Lamar Jackson squatted about 700 pounds once.
He did?
One time.
He did not.
Yeah.
Well, then why wouldn't he be mentioned in this article about squatting?
You'd think the article would mention that.
Yeah, that's what I read, that he squatted 700 pounds one time.
Well, for God's sake, that can't be right. Well, anyway. Should text my brother. Wonder if he's listening. If my brother's listening, text me. He has a couple of weightlifting records somewheres in the state of Minnesota.
Fun Size She's has said she squats her body weight every time she bends down to pick up something my, quote, clumsy ass dropped.
What I remember about my brother, and maybe he'll text, he's got some kind of record somewheres. He does the deadlift.
Yep.
And
I do that every morning when I get out of bed.
And I think he also does the squat. What was great about my brother when we were hanging around more when we were younger, when he would squat a pile of weight at the gym, it was always funny when he would get into position to take a deuce, try to lower himself down onto the toilet, his legs would give way and you'd hear his ass just bump on the toilet. Because his legs were so tired from squatting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
2 hours later, he's got to cut a deuce and he could not. His legs were so cooked he could not support his own weight. He'd have to more or less fall onto the toilet and hope to not crush his testicles on the porcelain.
Wapo, when you said Lamar Jackson could squat 700, somebody texted in and said they think you're talking about Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Well, that
he
was
squatted 600 pounds.
Yes.
Yeah, the article mentioned him at 600 pounds.
Right. All right, here we go. Let's have a few laughs here. Let's go back and forth. We love a good real or made-up underdog story, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
A good real or even a made-up underdog story. Website by the name of Yard Barker. They put together is how you say it, their list of the 20 biggest underdogs in sports movies. Now, this is not a list of the best underdog sports movies, though some great movies do fall into the mix here. And a few absolute garbage piles end up in here as well. It's a list of the movies featuring the biggest underdogs. So don't be looking just for great, inspiring movies. Some of these are really bad, but they just had big underdogs featured in the movies. It says here, I don't know the first reference, Team USA against Iceland. They say you need not apply. Daniel LaRusso, you need not apply. These underdogs are even more significant.
Wow. Because that was quite the upset in the 1994 Junior Goodwill Championships between Iceland and Team USA.
So these are the movies. And some of these movies really are tough for me to talk about because I love them so much. And others are tough for me to talk about for a very different reason because they're just unmistakably awful. All right, Dodgeball, a true underdog story, makes the list. They claim that the level of underdog that Vince Vaughn and his group, group, they were such a massive underdog, they made the list. They never should have had any business beating stupid Ben Stiller's awful character and his group of unfunny characters in a completely unfunny movie.
I loved that movie.
Well, it's quite the upset, though. They had a very motley crew, very ragged group of athletes they had on that team.
The best was Pirate Steve.
They had a pirate. They had a high school kid.
They had a pirate?
I do not know how you guys can get through more than 10 consecutive minutes is how I'm trying to say that. I don't know how you can get through 10 consecutive minutes of that garbage film.
I watch it anytime I catch it on TV.
Well, it's got that babe in it. Who's the main girl in it?
Again,
Dana,
every time I complain about a movie, someone throws a babe at me.
I think it helps usually for you.
What was I complaining about yesterday, Josh, and you threw Jennifer Aniston at me?
Oh, Horrible Bosses.
Right.
I don't know how you didn't like that movie.
Because it's stupid.
I mean, I know why, because there's a character you can't stand, and I think it's the same in Dodgeball. If Ben Stiller wasn't in Dodgeball, I think you would have liked it.
Miracle.
Wonderful.
Makes the list of
good.
some of the biggest underdogs in sports movies. Of course, Miracle.
Sure.
Space Jam, never saw it.
I never saw the original.
Well, it was cartoon characters taking on aliens, so that is a pretty impressive upset.
It's a good movie, though.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff in here. The Looney Tunes team were going up against the Monstars, who had stolen the talent of a few of the best basketball players in the world, and it says in parentheses, and also Muggsy Bogues and Sean Bradley. That's very funny.
A couple of them were reaches by the end when they were going down the roster.
The Toon Squad's underdog status is further established by the fact that they are getting absolutely obliterated at the half. Michael Jordan's skills and the Looney Tunes, they just broke just about every rule of basketball to eke out the win. Okay. Space Jam. Rocky, of course, the story of Robert Rocky Balboa. Air Bud. Years ago, Josh and I and 3 of our friends went to see Air Bud. It only cost $15, and that's how Josh and I were able to bring 3 of our friends.
That's right.
Nice.
I do remember we had to make a few phone calls, though, to ask the price.
It's good to call ahead.
Yes.
A few phone calls. I never saw it, Air Bud. It's a dog that plays basketball, I think.
Right.
I think I was too old for that one, too.
The dog got its start on Stupid Pet Tricks on David Letterman. Mm-hmm. And then he was also the same dog on that was Comet in Full House.
Mm-hmm. No way. That's really cool.
Full House? Mm-hmm. Never saw it!
Ah, it's good.
I was kind of surprised by that, actually.
Fuller House was good, too.
Is there a babe in it?
There is.
Plenty of babes.
Here's a movie that I have trouble talking about because I love it so much, from 1979. Randy Shaver, when I say it, you're going to get chills. Are you ready?
Sure.
Breaking Away.
Sure.
Oh, wow. Great one. Breaking Away, a team of cyclists, and I know what you're saying. Cyclists? A bicycle race? Yeah. I didn't think I'd like it either, but it's really good. They mentioned the Mighty Ducks from 1992 were a massive underdog.
Have you seen that movie, Dana?
Once or twice, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is a pretty big upset because at the beginning of the movie, Nick, they were kind of like the Wyzetta girls club team you were talking about. They couldn't skate, but then somehow 2 months later, they're just flying around the ice.
There's no way I can get involved in that bag of dog feces that they call the Mighty Ducks. Cool Runnings.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a fun one.
Great story, terrible movie.
Oh, what?
It's terrible.
I absolutely.
It's not terrible.
That was my childhood right there.
Oh, come on. Cool Runnings was your childhood?
Yep. That's right in my wheelhouse
That
when I
is
was a young kid.
That is not. That's no way any kid should be brought up. The Replacements, never saw it in its entirety. That's the, what's his name? Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman.
Football.
Mm-hmm. Again, we're rolling through not the best underdog sports movies, but the movies with the biggest underdogs, where they had no business coming out.
How about Major League?
That's on the list. That's a wonderful movie.
I'm sure it's in here somewhere.
Yeah, it's in here.
Happy Gilmore, God help us all, garbage.
God, how do you think it's garbage?
So funny.
Burt Reynolds' Longest Yard from 74. Again, that's one that I can't talk about too much because I'll begin to cry. Another one that just love every second of it. I'll watch it day after day. Victory.
I've got to watch that. I can't believe I've never seen it.
It says here, it says 1987. That was not in 87. Sylvester Stallone, Michael Caine, Pele. That was not 87, like 81.
Let's see here.
Victory.
Yeah, 81.
Yeah, that's incredible. A bunch of soccer players in a POW camp get to play the Nazis in a game of soccer. I can't tell. There's Major League. Hoosiers. They were massive underdogs, weren't they, Randy?
Mm-hmm. I loved that movie.
Absolutely. That's the best movie ever.
But the hoop was 10 feet high, just like it was in their home gym.
That's right.
It is not the best movie ever.
It is.
It's good.
It's the best movie ever.
Oh, for God's sake. The Bad News Bears in 76.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, Necessary Roughness.
I haven't seen that one either.
Oh, God.
It's been a long, long time.
Oh, it's so bad. Teen Wolf.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
We were just talking about Teen Wolf a couple days ago. Oh, another just steaming pile of fresh, hot fecal matter called Mystery Alaska.
I've never heard of that.
You're lucky, because it sucks.
I didn't think it was that bad.
And there was a dude in this building. Remember Dave? Of course you remember Dave, Josh.
Yeah.
He freaking swore by this awful, awful hockey movie.
Well, I love Russell Crowe. Burt Reynolds in that one.
I mean,
really?
I love Burt Reynolds, but that movie just sucks eggs. And then one that they close out with one I never heard of. It sounds like a soccer movie. Next Goal Wins.
I've heard of it, but I never did much research into what it was about.
I think that came out just last year.
According to Yardbarker, those are the 20 biggest underdogs in sports movies. Check out some of those if you haven't tried them yet. Specifically, Victory. What was the other one that I was losing my mind over? Breaking
Happy
Away.
Gilmore, you like?
There's some great stuff in there. Pigs have won 4 in a row. Beat the Coyotes last night in Tempe, Arizona.
They're making it interesting, aren't they?
Yeah. What we say yesterday. They need to go on one of these 8, 9, 10 game in a row deals.
Yeah.
I saw former Golden Gopher Logan. If he hits the net on that 2-1 in the title game, the Gophers would have been national champions last year, but I'm actually not too mad about it. Cooley score a goal for the Coyotes last night. Logan Cooley.
Yep.
Yeah.
State of hockey, right? Logan, everyone remember? Mm-hmm. He still looks like a 7th grader. He does.
Yeah, Bugstad was out there, Dumba.
Oh, I didn't see Dumba. But here's the deal.
Played in that arena that holds 4,600 people or whatever.
They just need to finally give up on this friggin' joke.
42 people.
There were 42 people there?
Yeah, 42 people. That's all it can hold.
But they got, 4 wins in a row. They're killing penalties. They're putting a lot of shots on goal. Yeah. They're playing well. They host the Buffalo Sabres on Saturday. You want to talk a little baseball, Randy?
I would love to.
Would you? So spring training is underway in Florida.
It's time. Yay.
Yesterday, Pablo Lopez and Joan Duran, however the hell you say his name, they were actually throwing some bullpen sessions. It's happening down there in Florida.
Pitchers and catchers reported yesterday morning, yes.
So I was reading a story from the Pioneer Press. Will the Twins acquire any other players? Well, yeah, they likely will, but I think what they mean by that is a marquee player. Last year, they signed Donovan Solano after spring training had already started, and he turned out terrific.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So, do you know the answer to this question? How much money do the Twins have laying around?
I don't think they have a lot.
Yeah.
They may be in a little bit better shape now that the Bally's deal has been finalized, because they were due something like $54 million from Bally's, and so
holy smokes, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, they didn't get the full money, but they did get some of that back. So I mean, there's been some rumors that they're not done, that they might try to find another starting pitcher. I don't think Blake Snell is that guy, but there might be a possibility to land somebody else.
Is Blake Snell the new Dick Mountain?
Oh gosh, no.
No, he's not. He's not quite Dick Mountain yet.
No.
Like a tired lefty that's going to play for
he's
7.
He's a Cy Young Award guy.
Well, then why did you say Blake Snell's not the guy?
Well, because he's too expensive.
Oh, okay.
I just don't think I don't think that's the kind of player that they would try to sign.
I thought you were hinting that he was washed up or something.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Oh gosh, not at all.
I'm sorry I blew up. So this article from the Pioneer Press talks about how they could use another outfielder. They could use another right-handed bat. Pitching, of course, goes without saying. They could always use some more pitching in the starting pitching. Their bullpen seems to be looking good at the moment.
There's been some discussions about like Adam Duvall, guys like that who are right-hitting outfielders.
Let me read you some of these names.
Sure.
A number of big names are still waiting for a club to give them a phone call.
Yep.
Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, he's going to be out of the Twins.
Too expensive?
I think so.
Matt Chapman.
Again, I don't think they need a third baseman. So
J.D. Martinez.
He's interesting.
Isn't he like 60 years old at this point?
But he had a good year last year.
Here's Blake Snell in the mix, Randy.
Yeah, right. Again, it's going to come down to money. These are all Steve Boris guys. These are all guys that, and Boris, the agent, is not afraid to sit and wait to get the deal. Jordan Montgomery's still out there, hasn't signed with anybody. Texas announced yesterday they're passing on signing him. Who
was that? I'm sorry?
Jordan Montgomery, the left-handed starting pitcher.
Right. He was terrific last year.
Yeah, for the Rangers. Yep. The Rangers announced yesterday they're not signing any more guys, that they're done. So he'll be out there. Whit Merrifield, who's a veteran player. Mike Clevenger.
They don't need any infielders.
No.
So they'd have no interest in stupid idiot Tim Anderson. I see no one wants him on there. I wouldn't want him on my ball club.
I think maybe the one guy that they might go after is Mike Lorenzen, who pitched for the Phillies and the Tigers last year.
Sure. Yeah.
He's a possibility. He would not be overly expensive. And
somebody texted about Trevor Bauer. No one wants Trevor Bauer on their friggin' roster.
Not right now.
No.
Trevor Bauer, I think, even said, "Look, sign me at the league minimum. Give me a chance." But
the guy's nuts.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to bite on that.
What else? I got a question for you. Who won the World Series last year? Was it the Texas Rangers?
It was.
Jesus, isn't that something? Forget all about
There's
it.
been a lot of time. Time has passed.
Time has gone by.
Also, the Dodgers spent $1.2 billion on salaries this year.
It ain't fair.
That puts everything in perspective.
It just isn't fair.
It's like we're competing in different leagues.
Yeah.
The Timberwolves been hanging around Oregon for the last few days. Tonight, they're going to go ahead and play their second consecutive road game against the Portland Trailblazers. That game will be televised on Bally Sports North starting at 9 o'clock. They won there a couple nights ago, so I say cheerio, let's do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Then they'll get a little bit of a break, about a week's break. Some of them, obviously Ant and Cat won.
Oh, right. They got a big pile of time off.
Yeah.
This is their final game before the All-Star.
It is, yep.
Break ski. I read an article from Deadspin. I didn't read the whole article. I read enough. And the headline was, the Wolves are giving off that sham number one seed vibe that the Utah Jazz had a few years ago. Now, first off, I don't remember the Utah Jazz were a number one seed a few years ago.
Well, maybe they were being talked about as a number
in the
one
regular
seed.
season. I think they were around the 1-2 seed, but they didn't finish there.
At any rate, this Deadspin article is claiming the Wolves are a scam. They say the Timberwolves might finish first in the West, but do you really think they're getting past the likes of Dallas, LA, or Denver? Now, I don't know who this guy thinks he's talking to, this author. If he's talking to the national media, then I understand. Maybe national media are writing all kinds of glowing articles about the Wolves. That's one thing. If he's talking to Wolves fans here in Minnesota, dude, we're Wolves fans. We're never sure of anything around here
Right.
as far as this basketball team goes. We've seen it all, and most of it has been bad.
Right.
So don't talk down to us like we're all falling down and touching ourselves, expecting a world championship to easily fall into our laps this season. We're not that effing dumb, you dork. Coming at us with that attitude. Oh, you think they're special just because they're the number one seed? No one here in this town, like I said, is loosening their fly at all just yet. We know how this works.
I would say, I would counter that and say that there are a lot of people out there that think this is the year the Wolves could make.
Who?
There are fans out there. When you read comments...
We're talking about championship?
Yeah. No, I
don't know anybody in this town that's getting that excited yet.
There are people out there that think this is a championship team.
I mean, is it that kind of unrealistic Vikings fan type optimism? Are they just making these claims to excite themselves?
Sure.
Because I don't know anyone in this town, my fellow Wolves fans, who are getting that excited.
Well,
we're certainly pumped to see the team succeed and have a number one seed. Anthony, Ed, Carl, and Rudy, everyone's playing. But no one, I don't know anyone who's fallen all over it like that.
Like we've said before on this show, they haven't won anything yet.
Right.
They haven't done anything yet. Yes, they're playing very well. They deserve to be where they're sitting right now. But we're not even to the second half of the season yet.
Right.
They have not won anything yet.
It's like a lot of Vikings fans, I think, say, this is our year. We're going to the Super, just because they enjoy the sound of it coming out of their mouth. You know what I mean? I don't think they really mean it. They just like to excite themselves with statements.
I think some of them mean it.
It's
fun to believe.
If there is a fan base who makes that kind of noise, it's the Vikings fans. I'm not going to argue that.
Yes, no, you're right.
Yeah. But, here's how the article closes out. The fact is, this Minnesota team doesn't have that player yet that teams fear in a 7-game format. There's no Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, LeBron James, or anyone near that stature in Minnesota. Edwards is good, but he still has a ways to go. Many of you will view this as hating, but it's simply the truth. Rudy and Kat aren't pumping fear into the hearts of opponents the night before a big playoff game.
I think that there are teams that would be concerned about those guys, for sure. I don't totally disagree with that, but...
Interesting article. Now, how about this? Detroit Pistons center Isaiah Stewart was arrested for assault yesterday for punching a member of the Phoenix Suns in the parking lot before the game. This is like a modern-day slap shot type story. Isn't that awesome, Randy?
There has to be obviously some bad blood between the two Eubanks and this guy prior to all this.
Right. The Phoenix Suns player is also a center by the name of Drew Eubanks.
Right.
So the cops said that the Pistons are playing in Phoenix. Pistons are playing the Suns. The cops say that before the game, an altercation happened as the two of them were walking into the arena to start warming up. Eubanks said an argument started. They were chest to chest, and Stewart threw a punch, hit him in the yap. It was unprovoked, according to some people.
I don't know if they were like squaring up with each other, like face to face, chest to chest. That doesn't sound very unprovoked.
I did not read this article. Were there like cops that witnessed it happening, and that's how he got arrested? Or did Eubanks go in and file a charge? I mean, how did that end up happening?
I'm not exactly sure if there was police that witnessed it or what, but yeah, that's hilarious. Arrested for assault. That's going to put some butts in the seats at the Pistons games for the rest of the year.
That's what the Pistons season is looking like right
Maybe
now.
the
Pistons. It was security, by the way, is who broke it up, and I'm sure they're the ones that reported
Sure.
Who's the Pistons coach now? That nice guy. He's a nice guy. He had success with Phoenix, and then he got canned.
Oh, I don't remember.
He's a nice guy. Comes off like a smart fella.
Monty Williams.
Monty Williams.
Yeah.
I wonder if Monty Williams now, for future Pistons home games, he'll maybe have an ambulance driver, circle the arena. Circle the arena a little bit. Let folks know there's going to be some blood in there. Remember this Isaiah Stewart? And he had every right to. He wanted to beat the piss out of LeBron James a couple years ago. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah. Yes.
And he had every right to sock James in the yap. James gave him some terrible cheap shot, and then LeBron was like, what happened? It was an accident. It was a friggin' cheap shot. And this Stewart guy wanted to beat his ass, and I was hoping he was going to do it. And I'm not an anti-LeBron guy, but just, I like violence during my ball games. The Brooklyn Nets lost last night to Boston by 50 points.
Ooh. Yes.
That kind of thing just shouldn't happen. And that didn't happen back in the day.
And they're not a terrible team either.
No. But that's not even the worst loss points, differential-wise in the NBA this season. Portland lost to Oklahoma City by 62 points earlier this year. Losing by 50, 60 points.
That's the three-point shot. That's where the league is.
And also a change in attitude. 35, 40 years ago, if you're up by 30 and you're still taking three-point shots or driving the basket and being a hot dog, someone's going to knock you on your ass and calm you down, and that's not going to be that big of a differential. Back to LeBron real quick. Word is the Golden State Warriors front office unsuccessfully attempted to acquire LeBron James in a trade with the Lakers before last Thursday's trade deadline, is how you say it.
Draymond Green even tried to talk him into it. He flat out turned it down.
My damn, can you even begin to imagine how obnoxious the round-the-clock coverage on ESPN would have looked like if the Warriors would have made a successful trade for LeBron James?
There's no way that LeBron was going to leave LA.
Stephen A. Smith's head would have exploded into a million bloody pieces live on television.
I'm telling you, LeBron is hanging around long enough in hopes that his son will be good enough to play in the NBA.
Right.
That's what he's hanging around for.
Yep.
Me and my dad still have that same goal.
Good luck.
Playing the NBA together.
You've got the height.
It's a good dream.
Apparently, the Lakers the word is the Lakers also rejected a trade offer for LeBron James from the Philadelphia 76ers. History likely will be made tonight in Iowa City, Iowa, Randy. University of Iowa ladies basketball player Caitlin Clark is 8 points shy of setting a new NCAA Division I women's college basketball scoring record.
Career scoring record, yeah.
What did I say?
Well, scoring record, but career scoring.
Yeah. And ticket prices are off the charts.
She's a phenomenon, isn't she?
Mm-hmm. Yep, she's amazing.
Everywhere she goes, they sell out. She's kind of like a rock star. Everywhere she goes, they sell out. She's a role model to all those girls that want to play basketball. I actually think when she goes to the WNBA, it won't be the same, right?
Well, you mentioned this a couple weeks ago, you and Brad Ryder, and I don't remember
where. She has another year of college. I believe she has another year if she wants it.
Mm-hmm. And again, what do you mean it's not going to be the same?
I just don't think the phenomenon of Caitlin Clark will be the same once she leaves college.
Well, she's going to be going against better basketball players.
True, absolutely true.
Right.
But I'm just saying the aura of who she is and what she represents. I just don't. This is her time right now.
Well, okay.
So,
Iowa plays at Williams Arena on the 28th of February.
It's already sold out. Been sold out for months.
Tickets are going for $154 just to get in the door.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been sold out for months.
So this Clark needs 8 points to overtake a gal named Kelsey Plum, who scored a hell of a lot of points for the University of Washington from the years 20 plus 13 to 20 plus 17. But did you hear this little twist to the story, Randy?
No.
There's another ladies college basketball player from back in 1977 named Lynette Woodard, who scored 3,649 points. But her collegiate career predated the years in which the NCAA governed women's basketball, whatever all that means.
Yeah.
So for some women's basketball...
So they don't count that record.
Right.
Yeah.
For some women's basketball players, for some women's basketball fans, they're not going to call Caitlin Clark the top scorer of all time until she passes this Woodard lady, which she has the ability to do this season. So there's like a little asterisk. Okay, fine, you get past this Plum gal, great. You still got to get past Woodard to be absolutely legit the greatest scorer in ladies basketball.
It's kind of like Ichiro or Sadahara-O,
right,
who have the great seasons in the Japanese baseball leagues, and then try to compare them to the major leagues. Or in Ichiro's case, he came over here and was incredible. But yeah, they count. Some people just don't recognize it.
Right. There you go. All right, Golden Gopher men's basketball. They need to buck up and forget about the disaster against the Iowegians from Sunday tonight. They got to face that big bastard Zach Edey.
Yeah, it's going to be. It could be very ugly. Could be very ugly tonight.
Purdue's number 2 in the country. Effing Purdue.
Purdue's got the young Wyzetta kid comes off the bench for him.
Oh,
that I coached in 5th and 6th grade. Camden Heidi.
That's one of my classmates' sons.
Oh, really?
Yes,
yeah.
I know his. I've known his mother since I was a buddy.
Oh, have you really?
Oh, I've known his mother since I was a 4-year-old kid.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Camden's a great kid, outstanding player. He's getting about 10 to 15 minutes a game.
I'll be looking for him. I haven't seen him play yet, and I'm glad you mentioned that.
Do you think that 5th and 6th grade season is kind of what shaped to be the player he is today?
I know it is.
Yeah.
You ask him. I know it is.
It's an impressionable age.
Yeah.
You coached him when he was a 5th, 6th grade kid.
I did, and we had really good teams.
Yeah, his mother and I have known each other since we were tiny
that's
little.
Great.
Our dads were tight buddies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know all
yeah.
that. That's funny.
Oh, yeah. Her dad passed on many years ago, mine more recently, but yeah, I have very fond memories of drinking beer with her dad at the Wazette American Legion.
Well, he'll be one of the first guys off the bench for Purdue tonight. So.
There you go.
Fun.
How about the Detroit Mercy men's basketball team finally ended a 26-game losing streak last night? They beat IUPUI, and the only reason why,
I think the Gophers played those guys.
Yeah, that's how I know what that means. Indiana University, Purdue University, Indiana, I think is what that states.
Yes, exactly.
So the Titans had, Detroit Mercy had lost 26 games in a row until last night. They beat IUPUI. Did everyone see the video of the lone fan at the Detroit Mercy home game that stormed the court?
Yes. I think you posted this, didn't you, Ashley?
Yep, that's up.
One guy.
Team without a win in the nation. Marcus Tankersley dribbles it out. And that one is for you, 24. 81-66, your final score here today.
Good for that one guy.
That dude is so funny.
Look around like no one else is going to join me.
Just me? All right.
I kind of thought we'd all be out
The security people just look at him like, just let him go.
I mean, what's interesting...
He looks like he's lost.
Yeah, he kind of does.
There's nobody at the game. Nobody. And even when the team seals up their first win in 26 games, Josh, you tell me they don't even get too excited about it.
Not at all.
It's just more of a, and you could understand this, it's more of a Jesus, finally type reaction. But here comes this one dude who goes out onto the court. That guy, he should be given season tickets because that's funny. It's not clear if he or the school will be disciplined.
They shouldn't discipline
I'm kidding, of course, for Christ's sake. This has got to be a bit, right? Dana White, the guy who runs, what do they call that deal
UFC?
again? The guy who runs UFC, walking off of Howie Mandel's podcast in about 30 seconds.
An amazing businessman. You are an inspiration. You are a philosopher. The way you do business, the way you conduct your business and your friendships and media is, I'm jealous. But Dana, I can't thank you enough for being here.
Thank you for all the kind words. I appreciate it. I am so tired of doing podcasts. I'm literally done with them. I'm not doing any more podcasts.
There he goes.
He just walked off.
All right. Maybe that could have been decided before you sat down.
Yeah, no kidding. What a joke.
Wait a minute. None of this is legit.
No, it was all scripted.
It's a bit. It's got to be.
There's no reason to get mad at Dana White. This was a comedy bit.
You could tell right away when I looked in the background and behind Howie Mandel, there's like a cat picture.
Yeah.
Like, why would Howie Mandel have that?
Does he like cats?
I have no idea. That's why I thought it was
I imagine the reason is he probably likes cats. I don't know. So I guess this is a bit between Howie Mandel and Dana White to promote something, I would imagine. And finally, I got a text from NWO Jesus earlier. And this is kind of interesting. Although I will admit, NASCAR, it just doesn't grab me anymore. It doesn't. And
Isn't it Daytona week?
Yeah.
Is it Daytona week?
I believe, yes.
Yeah.
See, I'm so out of touch. There was a time in my life where I really enjoyed it. It just doesn't grab me anymore. And I think it's because of the personalities. So many of the great personalities are gone or leaving. The Earnhardts, the Waltrips, some of the other, like the Tony Stewart.
It's also so sophisticated now, right?
Yeah, I don't like the staging. That's when I got out of it.
Just so sophisticated.
Some folks don't like that staging. I hear you on that, Wapple. For me, it's more about the personalities. And nowadays, it's, hey, this guy won the race, and he jumps out of his car. It's a 19-year-old kid with a clean-cut haircut. You know, it just, back in the day, it really was a bunch of kind of unkept dirtball sons of bitches, you know, hung over, racing around the track, big mustaches, cigarettes hanging out their mouth. It's like, the drivers these days look like college tennis players or something. So anyway, I apologize to big NASCAR fans. It's just, it's lost me. But got a text from NWO Jesus. And yes, I think most of us were aware that Frankie Muniz kid from Malcolm in the Middle was a driver. He's been driving race cars for years, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Really long time.
Yeah.
You didn't know that, Randy?
I did not.
He does this, he does that, he drives around in circles.
And apparently he's pretty respected by other drivers.
But this NWO Jesus tells me that he might make the Xfinity race for Daytona this Saturday.
Oh, wow.
That would be something to look for. Because he seems like a very likable dude, that Muniz, whatever his name was, and my damn was that a funny program.
That's one of the better comedies of all time.
With so many shows that come back these days, or or new generations that people find them, I'm surprised that one hasn't gotten more love, because that show is so dang funny.
Which show?
Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm in the Middle, oh, God. Josh, I get my balls busted around here a lot because you folks, specifically Josh, try to talk me into following a series on television, and I usually, I almost always, I never follow through. But that is an example. One being SpongeBob SquarePants. Josh talked me into following that show, and I enjoyed myself. One of the others, Josh, was you kept telling me for years, you gotta watch this Malcolm in the Middle. And I'd always say, When I finally did, I would spend almost every day trying to find reruns of that program.
Oh, it's so good. Bryan Cranston was one of the best TV dads of all time.
Yep, absolutely.
There was and it just surprised me. It really did. Not because it was suggested by Josh. I'd take his advice on, everything. But it just surprised me how much I enjoyed and how hard I laughed. There was one other television program, and the list is short. Like I said, I just don't get into television program. There was one other television program that I said, F it, I'm going to try it. And I was just surprised at how I would just belly laugh over and over and over again. And that was, my name is, how do you call it, Earl?
That was a good one, too.
My name is Earl. I can't find that anywhere anymore, and I'm sure someone's going to say streaming. I don't know how to do that. I can't, regular cable, I can't find My Name is Earl anymore.
It's on Hulu.
What does that mean?
What's Hulu?
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Which I think you have.
Oh, there you go. All right, so maybe we'll see Frankie racing around the track. There you go, Randy Shaver.
Big weekend. Tigers playing at the Genesis Invitational. First tournament of the year. First tournament for him since the Masters, when he walked out of the Masters last year.
This is massive.
So Tiger is back playing today.
All
so
right.
Hopefully he'll hang through the weekend.
A little bit of controversy surrounding him as he took pickles off a burger, and the internet was not happy.
Yes.
What the heck?
They
I hope he can get through this level of controversy. Has he ever experienced
I'm with
something
him,
like
though.
this?
I'm not a big pickle guy.
Oh, I love pickles.
Not a big pickle guy.
Let's
Crazy.
not friggin' food arguments. Here we go again.
Pickleball, yes. Pickleball, yes. Pickles, no.
Pickleball. Randy can't get enough. All right, dude. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.
See ya.
Thanks very much, and we'll be back here shortly on the program ski.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
Standard Heating is having their 94-year celebration. They have special offers just for you this February. Whether you need a new furnace or a tune-up, they have something special for everyone. Visit standardheating.com to save today.
You loved Lala Kent on Vanderpump Rules. Now get to know her on Give Them Lala.
We're going into Vanderpump Rules. Easton, you told me that Raquel is a little nervous. She talks about it on Rachel Goes Rogue, and she's a little nervous for her podcast to be airing while season 11 is airing. Let me tell you something. She should have come back to the show. It would have been very different than what she thinks it would have been. She shot herself in the foot. She's not the brightest bulb. We all know this.
Watch what Lala is talking about on YouTube or search for Give Them Lala wherever you listen.
Okay, you see what he did? He French fried when he should have pizza. French fried when you pizza, you're gonna have a bad time.
The 93X Half-assed morning show.
I thought we told someone to gas that one.
I remember that conversation. No? Somebody French fried when they were supposed to pizza on that. Yeah, I remember that conversation.
Welcome back to the damn show. It's 8:31. Happy Singles Awareness Day.
Right back at you.
Happy Singles Awareness Day to everybody who is just swinging in the wind, unclaimed, unchained, and single as hell. That's the life right there. For some of yous. Some folks just smooth hate being single. Oh, they hate it. They gotta have somebody at all times. So it depends on who you are. Married folks have been talking. And Cubby, you know how we get when we married folks get to talking.
Oh, yeah, we're a couple of yentas, you and I.
Married folks have been talking, and you know how they can get. About what they miss most from their single life? Married folks been talking about what they miss most from their single life. If you could give me a top 3, Cubby, what would it be? Not that you've spent a lot of time being single, because you have not.
Boy, I don't know what I miss. I mean, I guess you're just thinking about yourself, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to think, not that it's a burden. I'm just saying, that I remember you don't have to worry about if somebody else is entertained, if somebody else is taken care of, health
Fair
insurance for someone else, that kind of stuff.
Worrying about keeping other folks occupied and entertained. Health insurance? Explain that to me.
Well, I just have to worry about myself. I don't have to think about, and again, I'm not complaining. I'm just off the top of my head trying to think.
Don't worry about it.
It's easier. It's easier.
It's easier. That's a good one, that first one you mentioned. Everyone all right? Everyone is ever... No. I'm doing a character voice and playing off of what Josh...
Oh.
Jesus Christ. Having to ask the kids and the wife, are you good with this? Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Are you cool if we do this? Are you cool with... Yeah,
I wouldn't mind living in an efficiency apartment versus a house,
Oh, God, that's a huge one.
Have a couple of bucks at the end of the month.
Just a garbage apartment where the 4 walls are barely standing, but you don't care when you're friggin' single. All right, married folks talking about what they miss most. Number 1, quiet. Just quiet. Dude says, I got a wife now and 3 little girls. It's a madhouse. Yeah, that's got to be difficult. I like quiet. Oh, I do. I spend a lot of my time, believe it or not, I'm probably one of the last people left that really do just turn on the radio. I dig that. Just listening to the radio, commercials and everything. No one does that anymore. But even sometimes I'll just click the radio off, dead effing silence. Silence and darkness are 2 of my favorite things in the whole world.
I never turn lights on. I get a lot of crap for that at home.
Me too. Mm-hmm. Me too. I don't. Why do we have to? What are we?
Food is another one for me, and it goes along with what I was saying earlier, where you think of other people, but I don't have to get shot down every time I want something, and everyone else, all they do is shoot stuff down and not provide one idea.
Right. They say, I'm up for anything tonight, whatever you're thinking. All right, pizza. Oh, God, no. Pizza, we had that last week. Okay, tacos. Not feeling tacos. So not anything.
Yeah, what are you in the mood for? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, food was another one.
And also, when I got divorced, too, with food, meal times, because we go to bed so much earlier, we're on kind of different schedules than somebody who works more of a 9 to 5. I'll eat dinner at 4 o'clock and be completely happy with myself. So I did kind of enjoy that, getting back in that routine.
That's usually when I have first dinner.
First dinner?
4, yeah.
Yeah.
You still go to bed early?
Do my best to, yeah.
How early is early?
Trying to get in bed by about 8.
Holy cow. Wow, dude.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Then how come you don't look or act any more awake than the rest of us?
Because I told you, it takes me a long time to fall asleep.
Well, and I was
you
so
get
me
really
too.
bad sleep, don't you?
No.
You.
I'm in the same boat. It takes 1 or 2 hours to fall asleep. So still, you're falling asleep at 10.
Try to, at least, yeah. That's the goal.
It's bigger when it's warm out, Jesus. Mrs. Pooping with the door open.
Oh.
I don't remember the last time I went to the bathroom with the door. Even if I'm home alone, I close the door.
Yeah, I close the door, too.
I lock it, too. Usually I lock it. I made the mistake of not locking it not too long ago, and a gentleman walked in on me.
No. I don't even close the stall door these days. Screw it, I'm over it.
You go to bed at 8 o'clock?
I know, wow, that's impressive.
Try to, yeah.
That's crazy.
I'll start
Absolutely
a movie at
crazy.
8 o'clock.
I have dinner at 8 o'clock.
Holy cow,
At any rate.
Spaceship Superstar Jesus said, going to bed when I want to. Just because you're tired doesn't mean I'm tired. Sure.
Oh, you got one of those significant others that thinks you have to go to bed together?
Sounds that way.
That sounds annoying.
Gross.
All right. These are all good examples. Married folks talking about what they miss from their single life. Things being left where I left them.
Well, maybe if you left them in the correct spot, they wouldn't get moved.
Sometimes
What
you
the hell is
do,
that supposed
and
to
they
mean?
still get moved.
They're correct.
My wife can never find anything because she doesn't have a spot for things. And let's say somebody's coming over, so her spot is just to throw everything in random drawers at last second to clean it up.
That stresses
And then she
me
can never
out.
find anything.
Sometimes when you talk about how your old lady operates, I just tighten up. I do. She's and my friggin' wife that we're going on like 4 months now and things are shaky. She's the same way. She just kind of throws things wherever she feels like it, and that's not how I play that game. Not being beaten to death in my sleep by my wife. This is a married person, something they miss from being single. He has a wife who rolls all around the bed, tossing elbows into his jaw and whatnot. He says, I bought a king-size bed. Stay away from me already. We got all the room in the world. How come you're kicking me in the ass? And he misses that. He's tired of that. Or another sleep-related answer. Sleeping in the middle of my bed like a starfish. They missed that from their single days.
Temperature in the home, that can be one. Folks,
you have those battles.
Disagree.
See, I don't have
that.
Well,
we don't have the battle, luckily. My wife will go along with it, but I try and be courteous, or it's warmer than perhaps I'd like.
Taking off and doing whatever the F I want to do. You don't got to clear it with anybody. You don't got to clear it with, as my buddy says in reference to his wife, you don't got to clear it with the War Department.
Yeah, you're completely on your own schedule.
You got to check with the significant other before you go somewheres?
I just tell him that I'm going somewhere. It's not like a permission thing.
Yeah, I just give my wife a heads up.
How come some of you are being quiet? Do you have to check with them, make sure it's up?
I mean, I don't have a lot of experience leaving the house outside of work, but if I'm going to, I'll let her know what's up.
Because if you're ever not there, it'd be such a rare occurrence that you would be concerned.
Yeah.
She'd burden the police.
What about going out of town? You're going out of town. You got to clear that with your significant other, don't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
How come some of you don't answer the question?
Oh, I'm just trying to think. I haven't really gone out of town much.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
go
I
out.
What are you
guess-
talking
I don't
about?
know,
You've been like out of town like...
Yeah, you go out of town quite often.
But the last few times I've gone out of town, it's been with my girlfriend or fiance now. It's not like I've gone out of town solo in quite a while.
I'll tell you a good out of town story. Buddy of mine, not a lot of dudes can live like this. This was just amazing to me. He and I were going to Chicago, and I went to his house to pick. He's got a wife. He's got a kid. I go to his house to pick him up. We're going to go to the airport. We're going to go to Chicago. And I walk into his house. He's got his bag packed. And he's like, okay, I got everything. Let's go. We walk out the door. He closes the door, and he goes, oh, Jesus Christ. And he opens the door to his home again, and he says, hey. And hear his wife go, yeah? She's in the back of the house. Yeah, I'm going to Chicago for a few days. And she says, what? And he shuts the door.
Oh, my God.
I don't know many guys who can get away with that.
No, especially when you have a kid involved.
That was hilarious. Yeah. I just thought, are you kidding me?
Listen to the genius of Up North Jesus. Here's a way around the where do we eat dilemma. When you get together with a wife, you say, you'll never guess where we're going for dinner.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever she answers is where she wants to go.
Yeah, there's been a video going around for like a couple months of a dude cracking that code. I was like, that would work for me. That would work.
That's a great bit.
That is good.
I've never heard of that. That's awesome.
Being alone and not feeling guilty about it is something that one married individual misses about their single life. Being alone. And okay, I had a hard time with this, understanding what they mean, but there's an explanation. Being alone and not feeling guilty about it. At first I thought, what? Why do you feel guilt for being He says, I have a wife and a kid. Tell me if this kind of sounds like you, Cubby. When I do get a chance to be alone for a couple hours, it's amazing, but I feel bad that I want to be alone. I love them both to death and would do anything for them, but man, I miss my alone time.
Sure.
Do you feel bad when you're...
Even if I'm just working at home, I feel bad that I'm not around them or something, you know?
It's normal
that I've
want to
isolated
be alone.
myself in some way.
Really?
Absolutely. I'll try anything twice. Jesus said what he misses about being single is all the extra women. But he said he wasn't good talking to girls, so there was none. But it sounds cool.
In theory.
That's great. I think we covered this already, not having to consider anyone else when making a decision.
You know, I know we said something similar about stuff being in the right place, but it drives me nuts. My youngest, now older kids weren't like this, but my youngest, he'll just take my stuff and then it ends up wherever. I had to buy an extra remote control because we have no idea what happened to the remote. How do you lose a remote? It's
he
gigantic.
knows where it is.
No, he
must have
doesn't.
lost it or something. Because if it gets to a certain point, when I was a kid, if it got to a certain point where that people started getting angry and then they accused me of losing something, I would just stick to my guns and I'd throw that controller in the trash.
Well, there's only 3 people in the house. My wife never watches TV.
The kid will pick up your stuff and take it where he wants to put it.
Yeah.
There's a lack of respect and discipline in your home.
There is not. I'll tell him, you need to respect the house. My oldest, what he would do is we both enjoy the same style of potato chip. And he would eat all but 3 and put it back, to be polite.
Yeah.
But, it is kind of my fault because we'll have something great in the cupboard or whatever, and I always forget about it. But it's as soon as I want to eat it, it's completely
gone. And those 3 chips are not going to be satisfying.
Well, that leads me to my next one, and this is a good one. Something that a married person, this is great from a listener, something that a married person misses about the single life. Leftovers.
Nah, I don't eat leftovers, so I'm good there.
You don't eat leftovers.
You don't eat or just don't have?
I don't really like leftovers. I'd rather just make something fresh the next day. Actually, my boyfriend, he gets mad at me because he's like, we have all these leftovers. I'm like, yeah, you eat them.
All right, so you're weird.
Bring them in.
But
okay.
That's gotta be a big one for a lot of folks. When you were single, you knew that all those pieces of pizza were going to be there when you got home from work. You didn't finish a pizza last night? Nothing to worry about. You got a wife and kids, husband, whatever, boyfriend. Those pricks are going to peck away at it until you get home and there ain't jack squat.
Well, now,
that
luckily
sucks.
for me, my wife doesn't eat food. She consumes potions and things like that. So I never have that problem. We don't eat the same stuff.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess I'm lucky in that aspect, too. Me and the friggin' wife, we don't really eat the same things.
Yeah, she's never going to eat my leftover enchiladas. Never. She's not going to touch it.
I guess we eat the same things, but she's not as excited maybe about leftovers as I would.
Crazy Fish Guy Jesus misses no one counting his beers as he enjoys a cerveza or 2.
Come on.
Oh, that would piss me off.
Who's counting your beers?
Don't count my booze.
Yeah, no booze shaming.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Oh my God, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, we got to get going here pretty soon. Well, Dana's got to get in bed in a few hours.
He's got dinner first.
Yeah, dinner first at 3:30.
Jesus, what the hell is going on over there? Single Awareness Day. We've been talking about Single Awareness Day today. Happy Single Awareness Day to everyone who applies, or to everyone it applies to. Listeners been texting in about what they miss from their single days. Full tanks of gas in the car.
Oh, sure.
One dude said full tanks of gas. They don't last as long as they used to.
Well, I remember playing that game when I was a kid between me, my brother, my dad, and my sister shared a car.
Oh.
And so it would be whoever, people basically would skate in or push the car into the driveway.
Right.
So the next person had to fill it up with gas. I lost that game almost every time.
Wasn't that frustrating?
Oh, boy. This person says, what I miss most about being single is having close to no laundry or dishes. This is a good one. I'm curious how one person can add 37 coffee mugs and 3 loads worth of laundry in 4 days.
Yeah, definitely the laundry.
Dishes and laundry, sure. I had a couple text messages say, suddenly when you get married, real plates and silverware need to be used constantly. And I'm 100% back in that. I avoid silverware and plates at all costs. At all costs. I don't understand. Why is it so terrible to eat off a paper plate with a plastic spoon? What's the problem?
No, it's not as strong. I'm not going to put 2 things of lasagna on my paper plate.
Well, of course, there's exceptions to the rule.
Lasagna.
Reason comes into what is.
I love lasagna.
Of course, I'm not 4 years old. I'm not gonna,
I don't know. You make it seem like that's all you use. So
it is all I use.
Yeah.
I understand the weight limits to my paper plates and the strength limits to my plastic utensils.
Battery technician Jesus said one thing he missed about being single is he was in great shape, working out for years.
Oh, yeah.
After a 6-month relationship, I'm way too comfortable with a dad bod. She's fattened me right up. Yeah, my wife calls that happy weight. I did the same thing. I was so into lifting and stuff when I met her, and as soon as she said yes, I gave it all up immediately.
I think there's a certain extent to that, though. If you go too far the other way, I think that's a sign that you're unhappy.
Meaning what? If you
gain a bunch of weight.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I there's probably something to that, but I could put on 50 pounds and be pretty happy.
Another car-related answer in the question, to the question, what do you miss about being single? One of our listeners says, my car seat now has to be adjusted all the time. Never happened when I was single. Sure.
Oh, that's the worst, especially if they're shorter. You get in and crank your head on something or your knee on something.
Your knees are like in your chin.
This person misses being able to watch porn with the volume on. Oh! That's funny. A buddy of mine was just talking about that the other day. That he's like, I don't remember the last time I listened to porn. I can't do that.
Is that what the headphones are for?
Or a few, a good point. Maybe you feel more silly.
Yeah.
Because he was telling me he likes to, before he, completes the act, he likes to close the browser windows because he doesn't want to catch it afterwards and be disgusted with himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's okay up until that point, but afterwards he'll see what he was looking at and just absolutely not be able to live with himself.
Dude in our listening audience says, suddenly, now that he's married, yelling at a dog is a crime. I can relate to that. My new friggin' wife, she doesn't like people who raise their voices at their pets. And I said, well, that's how the hell you make the pet know that you're running the show. We have a big difference on that. I see nothing wrong with hollering at a dog. She's got a problem with that. And I'm like, well, if you don't do that, the damn dog's going to do whatever he wants. I don't get it. But we got a listener saying the same thing. Suddenly yelling at a dog is a crime.
I get annoyed by it if it's repetitive. Okay, do something about it. Stop saying no. Stop saying shut up. It obviously hasn't worked the first 25 times. Probably not going to work the 26th.
What if it did, though? Would you apologize?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. I'd be like, okay, well, maybe you were onto something.
My argument was, look, I've had pets my whole life, and yelling at them has worked every single time. I know what I'm doing here, but I guess I'm some kind of animal if I holler at a dog.
You're the animal. 2 sets of twins, Jesus had to buy a 3-pack of remotes because the kids hide them from each other so no one changes their show when they leave the room.
That's pretty
I didn't
funny.
even know you could buy a 3-pack.
Another listener says loud metal music wasn't a problem when I was single. Another says I'm criticized anytime, this is a dude, I'm criticized anytime I walk around the house with my shirt off.
Doesn't like that, huh?
Real salad dressing is something
got the light stuff?
Yeah.
Shotgun Messiah Jesus said the last 7 of 8 vehicles they've had, the wife has shut the garage door on the rear bumper, putting a, quote, butt crack in it.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, I've bought quite a few side mirrors. My wife hated side mirrors for a while. She loved to take them out on the garage.
Okay, and this is an interesting one from a lady. What she misses about her single life. She says, I could, speaking of her married life now, I could do without all the rank-ass farts.
Oh!
That's terrible.
You got to establish that in the beginning. That doesn't happen around me.
My husband's fart, she says, she's not done yet, sounds like there's a man playing a trombone trapped inside of him.
And they're rank ass.
Well, she does go on to say they don't really smell.
Oh.
So he's more of a perfect specimen like myself, who literally does not stink. I just like the way she put that. I could do without all the rank-ass farts.
Appliance whisperer Jesus misses leaving the toilet seat up.
Is that a problem in anyone's place?
Yeah, I always shut it. I got talked to about that a couple times.
I got talked to.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like a problem like it happens. No.
So he puts it down?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put her back down there.
We kind of have like our own separate bathrooms though, because he is the one that's got the bidet, and that thing scares me.
You don't have to use it.
So are you saying you've never used a bidet?
I tried it once, and it was just like too shocking. I don't know. It doesn't feel right.
This is the hip new thing now, right?
Yeah.
You're
People
aware of
love
that.
them.
That's all anybody wants to talk about is vape pens and bidets.
Oh, and he's obsessed. Like he recommends everybody have one. It's life changing, and I don't like it. Feels violating.
Can you aim those things? Or
There's like a front one and a back one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, like, is there like a joystick or something? Or do you have to pre-aim things?
No joystick. That'd be kind of cool.
It's one of those drones where you can control it by looking at the camera.
Oh, no. Nobody wants to see that.
Or there's like, it's like a heat-seeking missile that'll find the hole or something. I'd like to know how that works. But yeah, you're right, Nick. You hear people talk about those all the time.
Yeah, it's gotten to be the point where I'm about done with it. I think I already was done with it a few months ago, but I only tried it once. I only tried one, and that was 1987. Scared the living hell out of me.
Boy, back then I bet it was like a pressure wash.
I didn't know it was there.
Oh.
I didn't know it was there. I was sitting down to use the John at a buddy of mine's house, and I hit the button, and I mean, my God, I thought I had broken the toilet.
We're due for a new toilet, and I've thought about it, but then I shopped for one, and it's not cheap. And I don't know if I'll ever use it, actually.
You can just get an attachment, and it's not expensive.
It's not?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I thought even the attachments were kind of pricey. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong place.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, a few people are saying you can. There's a little aimer on there.
You can adjust it.
Oh, some of them got a little fancy. All right.
Come on, this never happened, did it? Text message from Double D's Sheezes. She once stood up too early off a bidet and bideted somebody in the face. You see what I'm saying?
Wait a minute, what's somebody in the
Now I
bathroom?
need one.
Well, girls go to the bathroom together.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I didn't know they were that powerful.
Oh, I want to get someone in the face so bad.
Hey, son, come on in here.
Bean Reconciler Jesus says, it's not just putting the seat down. Don't care who you are. Close the lid before you flush. Yes, I've heard people
Never
say
gonna
that.
happen. Never gonna happen. I've been flushing with the lid open since I was 2. There's no way I'm going to adjust that.
I take the top off the tank as well.
Yeah,
I open everything up.
That'd be a tough habit to break.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Been doing it the same way your whole life? Sorry. I know I've heard that before. Don't you know all the matter goes flying through the air when you fly? It's never going to change for me.
I started doing that. I closed it up now.
You have?
Yeah.
Because you read those stories about the fecal matter flying through the air?
I did. My toothbrush is right there. I don't want to brush my teeth with my butt.
Oh, come on. There you go. Thank you for your text messages, and happy Single Awareness Day to everybody.
Oh, so I'm looking. People are telling us that the Tushy is on sale, 27% off. If you want to get yourself a Tushy bidet adapter, I still think I'm not going to get one. You got one though, Ashley?
Yes.
Can I come over and use your bathroom?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not very often.
You can come check it out.
That's true. I'll have to go for a number 1. Thursday, August 29th, MLE Crew. They'll be at the Minnesota State Fair Grandstand. And in about 58 minutes and 10 seconds from now, the 93X pre-sale starts with code 93X Radio. You can buy yours before anybody else. If you text the word STEEL, STEEL, STEEL to 651-989-9393, we'll give you a shot to win club-level tickets to Monster Jam Saturday and Sunday at US Bank Stadium, furnished by Feld Entertainment. HVAC Delivery Jesus text in his appreciation to all the plow drivers working their asses off out there. Happy belated birthday to Timberwolves belong in the East Jesus. Happiest of birthdays to Wisconsin Jesus, turning the big 08 today. That's from Mom. Boner Grower Jesus. Happy 29th birthday to the smoking hot corporate to blue Jesus from your very lucky husband, retired red, still blue Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Standard Heating is having their 94-year celebration. They have special offers just for you this February. Whether you need a new furnace or a tune-up, they have something special for everyone. Visit standardheating.com to save today.